That was responsive. Good, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's special meeting of the Freeport City Council. It's Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. It is 6 o'clock p.m. I will declare that a quorum is present, so I will call this meeting to order. At this time, I'll ask Councilman Rosso to lead us both in the prayer and the pledge.
Let's pray. Gracious Father, we're so thankful to have us come here together. We ask, Lord, that you would have your way in this meeting tonight. Bless everyone under the sound of my voice. Bless the council, the mayor. Bless everyone involved. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, and you may be seated. You will notice that I have empty seats on both sides of me tonight. Chief Howell is feeling under the weather tonight, and I express that in today's world, it's best to stay home instead of share it with your fellow citizens. So she elected to do just that. So we hope that she gets well soon, but it's not going to stop us from doing what we need to do. First thing on the agenda is audience participation. The first person I have is Miss Nicole Morales.
Is Viola going to give a presentation? Can I talk, if I might have a comment afterwards, can I go to?
Yes, since it is going to be the Violia and the City of Freeport is going to do it during presentation and announcements, I will allow citizens' comments during that time as well. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? Correct. It's since this is under the discussion that we're having with them is under proclamations, presentations, and announcements. Okay, since it's not a technically an agenda item, I'm going to allow the citizens to comment. Mr. Sam Reyna.
Mayor, Council, good evening. My name is Sam Reyna, and I reside at 2002 North Avenue G. I want to thank Councilman Winston Russell, Councilman George Matamoros, and Mayor Jerry Kane for keeping the Charter Review Commission intact. We have worked real hard the last 5 months, and it'll take maybe 2 more meetings to finish our work. We have discussed adopting new ordinances, amending and modification of some. Appointing new members to the Charter Review Commission at this point would have been a disaster. After our next 2 meetings, we'll submit to legal our recommendations for proper wording and making sure we're not above state and federal laws. Then we'll submit our recommendations to the council for adoption or to place on the ballot for citizens' approval. Appointing new members would have forced us to review Articles 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 again, and we're at the point of no return. We don't have that much time. Again, thank you, Council. These photos show the corroded drain line between the handicap and ladies' restroom. Does not include the men's restroom and upstairs shower. The building is located at 1309 B Bresseport Boulevard. Future truck stop, restaurant, or gas station. The drain pipes run from the front of the building all the way to the back. So do the running water pipes. I replaced the water line from the sidewalk to the meter, but all drain line and running water pipes under the foundation are corroded. Plus, the building needs a sprinkler system and needs another fire exit door from the dining room. Dino, the owner of the building, is not going to spend money to bring it up to code. The building is not safe for occupancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyna. Mr. Jerry Meeks. Yes, sir. Mr. Julio Aloiso.
I think I probably get a presentation just concerning the water.
Okay. Miss Melanie Oldham.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Oldham. I'm speaking as a resident here. I live at 1206 West Broad. First of all, I was at the last city council when Mr. Councilman Matamoros made a motion for people to stay on the charter review, and they're all concerned citizens of Freeport that's led by Ms. Nicole Morales. That may not be a good thing. But anyway, I've been on that committee, and I know what they want to do. But also, I'm here to speak about Violia. And I read all 86 pages of the supporting documents. And thank you, Mayor, for putting those in there, because I know you're big on supporting documents. And I read the, quote, charges that Mr. former city manager Petty and Mr. Olson came up with, charges. They're listed. And to me, they're trivial. But they got fixed, some of them, and they got a lawyer. They explained, if you all read it step by step, what they corrected. And to me, it's just like when Olson and Petty sat down and came up with all these silly reasons to fire or put on leave Mrs. Chief Howell. Trivial things. They must have spent hours figuring out what to put down to get rid of her. But I know there's been issues, a few in the past with Violia, but I would say at this late date that you all would be wise to keep them, work with them. I'm glad that the mayor and the interim city manager set up a meeting. I guess it was held because they had never sat down and talked. But my God, read what Petty and Olson claimed they did. They did not. And so just read it before you make a decision tonight. It's pretty clear that they tried really hard to get rid of Violia and wanted to bring it in-house, which would be, even though Rudy is really good, it would be tough to do it right. Violia has been with the city for 20 years. The last contract was signed 10 years ago. It's up in September. And I remember when Mr. Meeks Sr. worked for them. And I remember when I lived in Ward A, one time I had a sewer water leak. He went out there and he had his guys dig it up. He said, those pipes are so old. He looked up and down and there was people that had breaks. He said the city manager negotiates every so many years with the head of Violia, and they get a set amount of money. That's all they get. Even if they want to fix the full pipe, they have to patch it. So a lot of it comes down to the city manager negotiating with the head of Violia. Their hands are tied somewhat. But again, please, if you haven't, look at the supporting documents, read through the what I call bogus charges that Petty and Olson sat down and came up with. And the company answers them very well. And so I know some of you have probably taken the time to read them, and I know there are certain people that want to get rid of Violia any way they can. But I appreciate y'all listening, And I appreciate the people that, on the council and the public that take time to read through 86 pages of supporting documents, but it will tell you the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oldham. Next, we have agenda item 2A, presentation by Violia for water and wastewater services. Matthew, you gonna take the lead?
If you're with me, I have Roy, our president, James Carter, as you know, here locally, and then David as well.
Cool.
So I guess, do we have just one mic, or
You'll have the one mic. We actually have a second mic.
if you don't mind, actually? Might be a
Can,
little bit easier.
can those in the audience see the presentation on the screen?
I'm gonna have this one on.
This one.
Okay. Now you can see it? All right.
I guess we got control here. All right, there we go. Mayor, council, appreciate having this tonight. My name is Roy Munns. I am the president. Yes, sir. I am the president for the central region of Violia, which encompasses pretty much the center portion of the United States down here through the Gulf. First off, I'd like to state Freeport is a very long-standing contract with Violia. Now, we have several of these, but what I will tell you is Freeport has been an excellent contract to work with the city on. Just as within any relationship, there are strains, there are issues that arise, there's disagreements, but we have found that over the years, problems have been solved. A lot of positive things have happened. The citizens of the community are being taken care of. So today's meeting is a reflection of that as well too. I know that we've wanted to come and speak to you before, really haven't been able to have that opportunity, so this was great. A chance for us to come in here and talk about positives, things that can be done, how the partnership can improve. But first, on this first slide, if you note, this is a breakout of the current system at Freeport. And one of the highlights is I get to work with the team, and as I get briefed on the daily events each day, over 4.5 years without a compliance deviation on a system this size. That is very, very impressive. So there is a lot of kudos that need to go to the hard-working employees, not just any leadership of Violia, but the ones with their names on their shirts that are at the plant and the system and doing great things every day. So the team's gonna talk to you about a lot more of those things, so I'm gonna turn it over to Matt Johnson, the VP for the Gulf Coast. Thank you.
No, thank you, Rory. Is this too loud? It's kind of neat being up here. I've always been that back row, so it's a little bit different. But no, I just wanted to thank you for giving us the opportunity to really go through and discuss really the way for us to serve you better. You know, we've been here. I've been wanting to review, discuss where we stand here in Freeport. I know that's been almost a 7-month process to be from when we first asked to where we are today. So we're feel fortunate the fact that we have the audience today, and look forward to answer and ask any questions, concerns along the way. So please pause me, let me know what I can do to help answer anything. This is meant to be informative and really to have that open communication. That's the piece that we strive for and hope to achieve with everybody here. That being said, so right now in Freeport, it's very much a manual operation. With some of the challenges we've had with the city manager and other personnel in the city, it's been unclear of where things stood. So we've been really antiquated to a manual system of how we operate. We have limited controls. We have a phone system. When there's overflows or issues in the system, we hear from the police department or through other means. It's not as reactive or as engaging as we want to be. There's also a lot of manual operation, a lot of eyes on the prize, not a whole lot of integration or digitalization towards how we operate. And one of the things that was unfortunate for us to hear is that in the bigger plant upgrade, due to some challenges with the borings, some value engineering was happened to the project where it eliminated the chlorine gas system upgrades that we were hoping to have happen. It's something that is, obviously chlorine gas is very effective, but it's also very concerning for us, given the size of the cylinders. And actually, as you guys probably all remember, about a month or so ago, there was a giant chlorine gas leak just north of us here, and that was, it creates an evacuation kind of dynamic. It's just a concerning thing for our staff and as well as the residents here in Freeport. So one of the things that we hope to do in this next chapter in the re-engagement of us here in Freeport is to invest into the city at our cost, at no additional cost to the city. To be clear, this is not additional needs or ask, this is us taking care of this. To put in a full SCADA system. SCADA is a digitalization way for us to control the plant, control the pump stations, and have a more interactive way of how we operate. The second item is to have real-time alerts. Middle of the night when something happens, an issue happens, CSO, any kind of event, it would happen when we get live alerts and be able to react to it in a timely fashion to provide you better service. As well as to get rid of the chlorine gas system I mentioned of. Whether it's UV, whether it's chemical with hypochlorite, there's different means how we can achieve the same net result, but do it in a more effective and safer dynamic. Next slide. Oh, so how do we get there? How do we accomplish that? And that's where we want to really build a system here where we want to be partners with the city. I can't stress that enough, is that one of the things we do is we develop monthly operating reports. I'm unsure that anyone here at the council has ever seen these operating reports. These are some of the communication, the partnership we want to show of, we want to tell you our struggles. We want to tell you our successes. We want to be that partner. And in doing so, we want to be able to, and also enlist accountability. When I fall short, how do I find means to rectify that and learn from said lesson? And then when the city is not being responsive to our needs or us as a partner, there's a recourse for us to find a better means to work in a more productive way. Next slide. This is actually going to pass off to Mr. Carter.
With this one, as he's talking about partnership, as you can see on there, there's a work order that is given to us from the city and a hole beside it with water in it. What does that mean to me? Well, this work order came out as an apparent leak on our side. After it was dug and investigated, it was on the customer side. It was between the house and the meter. So the guys called me and I said, okay, we will back off and we will pass it back to the city. Well, I got contacted and said, hey, is there any way you guys can step in and take care of this? It is not y'all's, we understand that, but can y'all? So I told the team and we did. We stepped in, fixed this, backfilled it, covered it up. That's the kind of partnership we want to keep with you guys here. Is we're not just going to turn and walk away. We was asked to help and we stepped up and we helped and made this right.
Thank you, James. And part of also to the accountability is we want to establish KPIs, key performance indicators, where in this continued enhanced relationship moving forward, hopefully, is put in mechanisms or things that we need to do better together and establish it early on to have a matrix to show what does a successful relationship look like and how we can essentially track that together. One of the things I like to try to accomplish here together is an enhanced MOR. I have an example down there below where it gives a next level of transparency and openness to what we are seeing. We want to essentially work with you to create the documents that works well for both sides. We also want to have 3-year checkpoints. If we're falling short, if the city's not meeting or not getting what they expect, there's off ramps in this relationship in the contract. Right now, what's gone here for the last year and a half has been very challenging for us, and it's been hard for our employees. It's been hard for, frankly, everyone in the city here because of how certain people in the city are choosing to act. So it's just, we're looking to also protect ourselves as well as be there to be the better partner for you to serve your residents better. And I guess next slide. So part of this partnership and part of our goals here is to address and work with you on getting back to the black. We recognize right now that the sewer and water account right now spends more than it receives on an annual basis. We recognize and appreciate the willingness and the look towards the city towards finding means to get back to a well-balanced budget. That's respectable, and we appreciate that. But what we offer and what we ask here is that there's ways to do so in a way we can transform how we operate, as well as find different innovative ways to give you better flexibilities to flex what you have in your system. So the first thing we talked about briefly is looking to digitize your system. We're looking to put in enhancements to better control how we do chemical, our power usage, find ways to do more for less, and translate that savings down to the city. Next slide. The other one here is also how we're structured and how we can transform, how we can do more for you. There's a little tip on the slide, it was my mistake, but on this first bullet there, that should have been for 25, but what I'm trying to do here is an opportunity I see is that we spend a lot on an annual basis on electrical contractors. With the digitalization we're hoping to work with you on, as well as the cost in our routine maintenance of being anywhere from about $100,000 to $150,000 a year. By us bringing in an electrician in-house at no cost to you, we look to hopefully find a means here to save you more money, to help you achieve better financial stability. And this is here, as like I said, just an idea or an opportunity here we think we can serve you better. Next slide. This one here is pretty interesting. Yeah.
So one thing, as I get to deal with a lot of potential clients throughout the country, is utilities are seen as an expense, right? It's just an expense that costs, it's a service that you're providing to the community. It doesn't have to always be that case. Okay, you can actually optimize your utilities to where that they can become a point of revenue for yourself or even economic growth and development. Okay, so here what we have is currently you're paying about buying 2 million gallons daily for the operation within the system, but actually only operating on about half. Okay, that's a set fee as I understand it. So there's an opportunity for the council and the mayor as well there too, to utilize those funds as a potential economic driver. Things that we can talk to you about, that we can work with you on and help support you. Now, the reason I point that out specifically is when a city goes at it alone, i.e. the traditional city-owned or operated utility system, you have to contract services from varying locations, engineers, professionals, water operators. You may be able to deal with some of the rural water or city DEQ or state DEQ or other officials. When you partner with us, those services come along with. We can save you money in several other areas. What we need though is a seat at the table to sit down with you, talk about what those things can translate into, and help steer and guide you towards the best spend of your money. And again, that really helps to support the local community because right now they are burdening the entire share of that fund. Okay, that is an opportunity for you to spread that out or even bring more into the community to support the tenants that are here.
So just to add to that, my name is Dave Heinzman. These guys all have operational skills. I'm a communications guy. But I do spend a lot of time traveling and seeing Violia projects across the country. And I will tell you that places where the relationship is strong and there is open communication between the client and the company, the things that Rory just addressed about optimizing and maximizing your water and wastewater capabilities, it does create an environment that helps economic development. We have a project in Tennessee that we took over that was a very troubled wastewater system, and they were full, they ran out of operators, they could not find operators, they were sort of desperate, and they became really full-fledged partners with us. And in a matter of months, their system was back online and running properly, and within a year, they had inquiries to, or they have development plans on the table to start adding hotels, other economic development, because suddenly developers saw that their infrastructure, their water and wastewater infrastructure, was stable and was well operated. And not every community has that. And when you do unlock that with us, it creates opportunities that you maybe haven't considered.
This next section really reflects or talks about in the last year and a half, there's been some changes on how the city's been structured and how capital work is facilitated in the water and wastewater systems. And I do believe that the intentions are, like I said, to get back in the black, but in a situation we can save money and do more for less. The city has elected over the last really year and a half in particular to take on more projects. And unfortunately, these projects, even though they had a good intention, unfortunately resulted into a dynamic that ended up costing the taxpayers, the ratepayers, more money. And that's where we want to highlight and show we want to be that partner with you to give you the best options, but we're left in the dark and unable to work with you. These are some examples of things where things go haywire fast, because what we do here may seem simple at times, but this is a very seasoned team. We've all been across the country. We have 20, 30 years of experience ourselves. James has been around for a while. We have a very talented team that is not being tapped. And that's the part where our confusion or frustration lies, that we want to do more for this community, but we're not being asked to. And when they struggle, it's been hard to watch. Anyway, so the first example here, actually both examples are out the gate, reflect the pump station 15. Pump station 15 right now is seeing about $250,000 of additional expenses and counting because of the execution of that project and where things stand. And frankly, the new water meter project, that one there is particularly troubling. That's about $1 million plus and still counting on just a dynamic that frankly could have been avoided. And really, we'll dive a little more detail in that next slide.
If I may.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm going to talk in reference to that lift station 15. As you can see in the next slide, is I myself give a quote in early 22 of $106,000 for the 3 pumps that need to be installed. You guys approved and voted for the pumps that's in there now at $156,000, the same pumps that I had give. Since then as well, the pumps are still in the lift station. They have put them in there, but I have since had to get a second bypass pump hooked up. Reason? We don't need to get no water on them. Y'all don't need to get no water. We're going to have to purchase them again. So they are still, even though they was put in the ground April 30th, they are still not hooked up today. So there's 2 bypass pumps, and if you can see that chart there, it'll show you what I gave the quote for, what y'all paid for them, and also just the rental on the bypass pumps that is sitting just at that said lift station, and how much the fuel costs for that.
What's key here too is it really, I think, highlights the cost of doing nothing or the cost of not recognizing time is money. And this is, I think, a great example where if the city elected to proceed with Violia back in 2022 and avoid the $16,000 worth of markup, we wouldn't be in this position today. Instead, they elected to go down a path where they tried to sole source the work. Pumps were relocated and lost in a storage unit for a year and a half.
Yeah, and some of y'all are aware of that because I was approached and we removed the 3 pumps early in 22, load them in a city truck. They were sent to said vendor to see if they could rebuild them. 3 months went by, 6 months, 18 months went by, still no pumps. They finally tracked them down in a storage locker up in Angleton. We retrieved 2 of them, took them to a shop. At that point, they was non-rebuildable. So therefore, we said, hey, we got to get new ones, and then that's when Lance came to y'all and y'all purchased the ones y'all have.
And in this slide here, we're not trying to show or come across as accusatory. This truly is more just trying to give examples of what we're saying, is that by not working with us and not tapping the resources that we offer, things can spiral out of control here quickly and costs can really mount. And especially in a system that has such needs and such wants, this $250,000 could have been spent on much better things than bypass pumps that just sit there giving operations a hard time, never mind just seeing a system that frankly should be where it's at and saving money instead now where we are today. This here, actually want to talk about the stations, what this is?
That's
Okay.
the same one. That's just basically showing 15 as it is as of today, minus the top right picture. Them are the stands and the pumps that have been placed down inside of the base of that lift station.
But one thing I'd like to acknowledge is serious photos, and I'm sure we'll probably hear more about it later on. We're always looking for rooms for improvement, communication, letting us know how we can serve you better. And looking at these photos here, frankly, there's some aesthetics, there's some housekeeping here that's, frankly, to be blunt, called subpar. These are things that we are working internally to put in better means to do a better job when it comes to system grass cutting, things like that. One of the challenges we've been having, and this is not an excuse, is that it tends to be marshy and wet. And unfortunately, our gear gets stuck, our gear gets damaged, and we haven't had a good run at it here as of late of maintaining these systems the way they should be. So even though this is showing progress, it's showing a work of a station that's in need of an improvement, I do want to acknowledge the housekeeping, and we are working on actually putting in some pretty slick new gear that'll help alleviate some of these concerns we've had in the past, as part of that continued investment into this redeployment, hopefully, to address what I see as also ways we can also self-improve. All right, next slide. So, Violia, being the world's largest in water and wastewater, we have a lot of partnerships. We have exclusive pricing. We have a lot of opportunities here to pass these savings down to cities and towns and different municipalities. One of them includes water meters. About 1 year ago at this point, James and myself met with the city manager and a few others to show how we could essentially do a free trial of 100 meters to test things out. I'll probably get shot for this, but arguably a meter is a meter. There isn't a ton of difference in meters, but what you're really buying is like the software. It's kind of like an iPhone versus an Android. There's subtle differences, but what you really appreciate is the software attached to it. Same thing with the meters. And that's why a lot of times most of the companies give you a free trial to love and like the software, and then the idea to hopefully buy the hardware. We do this all across the country, all over the world. We have a deal with Camstruck, and this is a value add for us. It helps us do our job better, and also is a way to save the city money. We do that. The scope of work here, we've been worth just under $2 million to do said work. Instead, we weren't even asked to bid. We weren't given the opportunity to even provide pricing. It was just awarded to a vendor on a singular bid, which is odd. This is a very competitive market. It's almost I talk a lot of analogies and I apologize, but it's almost like buying a truck and only having Ford show up. It's very odd. Generally, you would have a lot of competition in said market and only see one come in, especially at a price of $3.1 million. Just doesn't make sense, and frankly, there's about $1 million on the table from this decision that was made by the administration.
But it wasn't just the cost of the said meters that was high. It's also that if you look on there too, our warranty was 1 year on installation and 20 years on the equipment itself. That was what was presented to those that was here at the time that we went and sat down at City Hall. But if you look too, the warranty that y'all have on the company that's still installing them today is 7 days once it's put in the ground.
And of
We're
course,
actively getting called out, work orders every day, every week, on some of these meters that have already passed this 7-day warranty mark.
and it's sad because this is something that would be a great win for both Violia and the city of how we track and frankly manage the water resources. But here's an example where frankly a good project went sideways. So, I mean, what we have here, I guess we can conclude here really is just we're looking for a path forward. We want to be your partner. We recognize there's been a challenging year and a half. There's been a lot of things said, perhaps not a whole lot of facts, but all we're asking for is a seat at the table here to present what we see, to work with you, and to discuss possible solutions that work best for us as a team. That's what I asked 7 months ago, so I'm asking again today. Obviously, this is a more, I guess, formal, different dynamic, but that's really what we're looking to embody here is communication, openness, and structure. That being said, I guess this opens a Q&A now, or is this we just pass off the next presentation, or?
Turn my mic on first. Those citizens that signed up to talk, that wanted to ask questions to Violia while they're up here, we're going to run through it again. Mr. Jerry Meeks. If you would, Mr. Meeks, ask all the questions that you have.
I got some statements to make.
That's fine, but we want to still try to keep it under the 4 minutes. And if you ask a question and then wait for a response, your 4 minutes is going to run out pretty quick.
Well, it's gonna run out, I promise you that.
It'll run out quicker if you wait on them to
Run out
talk.
quicker. Well, anyway, first of all, I was part of Violia. Y'all know that. I came in here in '96, been here since to 21. And, but anyway, one thing is that y'all do stay with them. Don't give them a 10-year contract. They want to write the 10-year contract. I've been there and done this. They want to tell you what they're going to do. You're going to have to watch out all the additional costs you're going to occur from them. Oh, we need a backhoe, we need a track hoe. It's being done for the city of Freeport. Y'all need to pay for it. All this, don't get me wrong, all the chemical stuff, all that sounds great. They say they're going to incur the cost. Make them stick to it. But in the long run, they're going to have you, in the agreement they make for 10 years, they're going to have you paying for all the chemicals. They'll have you paying for the lights, everything else. There's no incentive for them to save power. Because you know what? The city's gonna be paying it. That's what it'll be, because this is the city of Freeport. Their vehicles, same way. They might be charging now for vehicles. You know, and all this extra help they're gonna bring in, there's gonna be a charge to it. They're not gonna suck it up. You're being charged right now, right at $3 million a year for their thing. And it's not just a year and a half, whatever this year and a half was. I'm talking 4 years. They'd have really a project manager here that came and they went. So, you know, he says, oh, they called me. You know why they called him? He was up in Oklahoma. There is nobody here running the show. You want a meeting, you call up and say, I want a meeting at 2:30. Can you be here? Oh, no, I'm out of town right now. Can we do it tomorrow or the next day? Because they're not going to be on site. I mean, that's it. You need somebody running the show on site. If you're going to get, 3 years, I think it was, and then we just look at it again, why not give it to the city for 3 years and see what they can do? You can do it for 2. Your thing was for an RFQ, request for qualifications. There's other companies out there you can ask. I mean, for a budget reason, I don't know what the city has for the budget, but use the number they gave you last year. R&M, yeah, it's gonna be out of sight. It's gonna be. City, I saw their slideshow. They're gonna show you stations. One is 17. It's a small little thing, has 1 2-inch grinder pump in it. Give or take 8 houses. If you look at that picture close, there's a goddamn 2-inch trash pump sitting outside the doorway. You know what? You go out in the morning, fill it up with gas, crank it up. Don't come back to the next morning. Where's the pump? Pump might have been $1,500. Sure, the city's gonna be billed to the city, but it's $1,500. Sure, all the other stuff is high dollar, but they're not doing the little things. They'll show you a picture of a leak right there in the wastewater plant, coming off the trickling filter side. Look at the cattails. Cattails don't jump overnight. Been there a long time. They hadn't fixed the leak. Look at your R&M list they give y'all. If y'all don't see them, your accounting department does. Look at that list. How many contractors they called in? They called in contractors to repair water leaks. Sometimes it was like a daily charge or something. How much you charge me for a crew for a day or 2 days? $8,000, $10,000. Okay, here's a list of leaks. The crew was supposed to be doing that. That's what the crew does. Okay? Same way electrician. Why you don't see a bunch in the past electrician part? I did a lot of it. I admit that. I did a lot of it. And when I got a tight spot, I called the electrician up and said, hey, what I gotta do here before I get you out? And that was taken care of. They don't have that relationship. But the city does. Some of the city people do. And you're gonna get the same employees that are out there now. Oh, they're gonna say, oh, there are employees. I promise you, nobody wants to go to New Jersey and pay their own way to get there. I know you're gonna say 4 minutes. I asked you about the 4 minutes thing. I got a whole book of it. And these people don't know nothing. None of them have really been around Freeport. They don't know nothing about Freeport. They're not from Texas.
Do I respond, or how does this work?
I'm okay with the response, but do you want to do it now, or do you want to wait? I've got 2 other.
I'd rather do it now. What's fresh,
Okay.
if it's okay. I
What's
just
fresh
wanted.
on your mind?
So no, listen. First of all, thank you for your time. And I would obviously there's a lot of passion there, and we appreciate that. For clarity, and let me know if I missed anything. First off, regarding the third-party contractors, that's come up over and over and over again. In the last year and a half, especially in the last 6 months, we've lost a few employees to the city for reasons that are unclear to us. In doing so, we still had commitments to the city as well as the city council here to provide the service that you've signed up for. We have engaged third-party contractors at 0 additional cost to the city to meet the obligations of our contract. I have been actually financially, Roy's been giving me a hard time. I've been getting destroyed here financially here for the last 6 to 7 months because of the needs I've had to rely on third-party contractors because I can't, because I'm losing employees because of some challenges that are happening within the city. That is unfounded, untrue, and I welcome to review our financials accordingly. I want transparency. I want to show you everything. And I've been hopefully consistent showing and seeing that. As for the cost and the other items there, the investments that we want to make into Freeport is for Freeport, in the end, that you own these assets. Violia doesn't own it. We're just an operator. We're looking to invest into your assets that you keep afterwards. And if you want to go with a different vendor at some point, take it back in-house. These are all assets that you now own that allow you to operate more effectively and cheaper. So first off, there's no additional cost to do the upgrades we're talking about. And secondly, you keep the upgrades to run the plant more effectively and more efficiently down the road to a lower cost for you in a long term. Is there anything else I missed? Or?
And if I may, not a manager on site, I was here personally for 21 months. After me, Joe Thaxton was here for roughly 13 months. And after Joe, Ian Brannon was here. Ian has been gone roughly 10, 11 months. And Don Martin has filled in his vacancy when he can at times. But there is not a project manager on site, but there is operations supervisors here on site.
We have lots of experience with the system, and we also, too, as you saw in our org chart from a few slides ago, we have a PM figured moving forward. We haven't had a person actually named that we want to bring down here, but given let's call it for what it is, the hostility that we're incurring here down here, we were a bit hesitant to bring in more bodies that be then stolen to the city. So we've been waiting and wanting to have this meeting, this discussion, to be able to discuss a path forward that we can work together, and then we'd invest our personnel in. I believe that was all 3 items.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Julio Aloiso.
Hello, Mayor, City Councilman.
Good evening.
I live on 826 Slaughter Road, been in Freeport for a long time, and I think it's time for change. You know, I see their charts and stuff they put on there, but I don't think improvement's coming fast enough for the amount of time they've been here. And in managing anything, you do need someone in-house to take care of issues that arise. And like I said, every time I have issues all the time with the water on the street where I live at. And I know they make repairs and do certain things, but it's just like an ongoing thing over there. So I don't know. It's just time for a change. Don't be afraid to let someone else or let the city take over and see what they can do. You know, I mean, they might surprise you. So I mean, they have a 20-year, I guess, contract that they've gone through, and they've been here for a while. But I haven't seen no improvements, and it's time for Freeport to improve with our water system. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, the pump station 15?
Pumps that we removed out of 15 originally. Oh, I'm sorry. The pumps that we originally removed out of 15, we was give to a vendor, and they found them, I can't remember, 16, 18 months later in a storage at Angleton after they was tracked down.
Next, we have Ms. Nicole Morales.
Nicole Mireles, 2002 North Avenue G. And I hear all these comments, and I've been at Dow 47 years. And right now, I deal with projects, and we bring vendors and contractors in. And, you know, you need to be very, very specific on what you're going to offer. Not to say, hey, we're your partners, we can do this. Y'all are the professionals, y'all are the experts. And for us to be having this kind of issue, you know, for years, I've been here for years. Anyway, and back in the days, not for anything, but when Jerry was here, Jerry wouldn't even hesitate to give you his number. If you stopped him on the road, you know, he was always there, bring his backhoe, whatever the case may be, it got done, it got fixed. You know, you're talking about the pumps that were over there for 18 months or whatever. Where's your supervisor on site? That should have never happened. And then we have to foot the bill. So, you know, we need to pay attention to what we're doing. And it's kind of like Julio said, guys, don't be afraid to venture out somewhere else. I don't know, there might be something else out there. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. But I see it, and I know what I deal with at the plant, and this would never happen. Ain't no way, no way. But anyway, that's my take on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Morales.
So I believe we actually have a slide to that, right? So
Yeah, and if I may, just to answer about the 18 months on the pumps, I was the supervisor on site, and they was given to the city.
And
direct-
JC, if you don't mind, in the mic, we broadcast this live, so
Hello.
people that are watching it online.
I was the supervisor on site. I was the supervisor on site. I gave the pumps to the city as per direction from the city. They was gonna take them and rebuild them. They never got them back from the company they took them to. Then they was tracked down.
And you asked for backup. Does this work now? My apologies. You asked for backup and for clarification. This slide here speaks to it. These are the receipts, these are the work orders, this is the actual backup showing and proving everything we're saying. And if anything, this was circulated ahead of time, this was circulated back on Thursday. So, I mean, this is something that has not been unchanged. We knew this was going to be a topic for discussion, hence why this slide was prepared. So, we can review it in more detail. And the promises we're having are detailed. We're looking to put in a new SCADA system. We're looking to put in a new disinfection system. These are all systems that we have experience with. We can do a lot cheaper because of our size and our buying power. A great example is INC, all the SCADA work. Our agreements with Allen Bradley allow me to buy gear at 30 cents on the dollar. These are savings I can push down onto the city to do more, to make that dollar stretch. And this is where we want to do more for you, and this is where I guess our frustration or our confusion lies, is that we understand the idea to try to take on more in-house, but unfortunately in this last year and a half, project after project, it has not gone well. And that's why we've been wanting to get the attention of the city council here for such a long time to raise this red flag or raise this concern, because right now we recognize the financial constraints and we're seeing these mistakes occurring over and over again. Sorry.
Council, do you have any questions for the gentleman from Violia?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Meeks is saying that there weren't any supervisors, and you guys are saying that there was. Which one is it?
Eddie Ruiz is here, and he is a supervisor of record. Sorry. Eddie Ruiz is the operations supervisor on record, and he's been here for 30 years.
Like I said, we gave him the promotion and title, not sure exactly when, but that was something that was,
Over a year ago.
yeah, so he's been a 30-year plus guy who's been through the systems. He knows our system very well here, and he is the named supervisor for the project. And like I said, we have a named PM ready. It's just with the struggles that we've been incurring here and the personnel challenges with the city, we've been hesitant to having a person that we see as valuable coming down here and then walk into a hostile situation. Frankly, that's not fair to them. It's not fair to the project.
So you say that Eddie's been a supervisor a year and a half? Is that what you're saying?
At least a year.
At least a
Yes.
year. And how long has Meeks been gone?
4 years, and
4
then
years.
I was here a month after that for the next 21 months myself, and followed by 2 PMs after me.
Mhm.
And going back to communication, one of the things that, Lance mentioned about a year ago at this point was the PM I had down here, Ian Brennan, wasn't working out. About a month, not even probably 30 days later, we parted ways with Ian because that was communicated to us that was not the right dynamic. So we were listening and made changes. Same thing with our ops soup. We also recognized and heard what the city was saying and made changes. Where the request or want for us to have this engagement came when the city wasn't listening to us. We were listening, but we weren't being listened to. That's the challenge, that's the issue we have here.
Toby, will you get my slideshow ready? If y'all want, y'all can have a seat. This is going to take a few minutes. Let's go to the first slide. These are documented issues. That we've had in our system since they let go of Mr. Meeks. Central Lift Station number 7. 3 pumps inoperable for months. Permanent bypass pump inoperable for months. Manholes need lids bolted down because of overflow. Mowing and housekeeping. Fence boards missing, not secured to the site. An inoperable generator. Lack of preventative maintenance. Large debris in the wet well. Biofilter full of weeds. Sprinkler systems not working. Next slide. Bridge Harbor Lift Station. Pump inoperable. Rented bypass pump for months. Lack of preventative maintenance, wet well, over 5 years. Flow meter from Surfside not working due to no sump pump and vault. I&I issues for manholes on Marlin and Selfish due to lack of preventative maintenance, sealing, ring, and lid. Next slide, Toby, please. Lift station number 10, which is Velasco and Gulf, pump inoperable. Rented bypass pump for months. 2 rotating assemblies are out. Leak on 2-inch water, force main line by manhole. Next one. Kelly Road lift station, it's inoperable, plain and simple. Next one. South Avenue I lift station number 17. Trash pump tied into discharge. Station's inoperable. No door, open wet well, safety issue where a child can fall in. South Avenue J lift station number 19, bypass pump on rent for months to go along with all these pump issues. Avenue F pump station, number 1 pump missing electrical part, 500 gallons per minute pump. Number 3 pump needs full replacement, $1,000 gallon per minute, 1,000 gallon per minute pump. Violia quoted 48 grand. Our city engineer is working on getting some better pricing. Well offline, meter removed, blind flange, CL2 feed was redone for emergency. Former supervisor, Chris Ware, disconnected. We have alarms on our generator, coolant issue, debris roof damage piled around generator. These are all our generators that are having issues. Avenue F not working. 8th Street pump station, it's inoperable. Central Lift Station inoperable. Coolant link over a year. Wastewater treatment plant inoperable for 4 months. Diesel leak for over a year. I mean, we can go on and on. Next slide. 10th Street, water leak, going on for months. Been reported numerous times. There's a leaks on Avenue N for months. Violia has outsourced the repairs, hydrant replaced, unacceptable dress up. Avenue M, 1200 block. I personally called that one in for 15 months straight. Violia finally fixed it on month 15. But they outsourced it. They had to replace the hydrant. Unacceptable dress up. Avenue J sewer issue, backing up into the apartments. Violia outsourced it, repair. It was 6 days estimated cost, $3,000 per day. Violia asked city employees to dig up water line leak because they were shorthanded. We have water leaks. They can't even isolate the water leaks because they don't have valves to shut off, to isolate what's issues. It affects BISD, our school district. It affects our businesses, such as Starbucks. Every time they're down because of a water leak, they lose $15,000. that affects On the River, Sweet Teas, all of our local businesses, because they can't do what they need to do because without clean water. They failed to issue boil water notices, and I'm going to prove more of that in just a few minutes. They don't communicate about water outages. Failure to flush the dead-end main lines. We've gotten TCEQ notices. So the statement of 4.5 years without any notices, we just got a letter from TCEQ stating there's violations. Continued pressure issues that affect all of our residents and business owners. Housekeeping issues. Next slide, Toby. These are the managers that have been here since they've let go Mr. Weeks. By my count, that's 9. So in 3 years, and they state that they have a manager. I mean, why? Well, I mean, this is proof that they can't keep them here, or they choose not to be here. Next page. This is the deficiencies in the contract. You can continue to go to the next page. Keep going. This is all the issues that when we were brought into the issues or made aware of these issues, why we decided to give notice. Continue going. Go to the pictures. Here's our Bridge Harbor lift station. I think they showed a pretty picture maybe on their side, but that's actually what it is. And they want us to say that's okay? No. Next picture. There it is. Fencing down. Anybody could walk in, get injured if they so choose. Next picture. Here's Velasco and Gulf Boulevard, another bypass pump. Leak on West 10th. Avenue I. You can actually see the pump sitting out. Door wide open. Better picture next. Wide open. Anybody could walk in, get injured. No security whatsoever. No fencing. Fall right in. Deficiencies. Avenue J. This is when they repair a busted line. This is what they do, how they leave it after they finish the dress up. It's horrible. Next one. Avenue O, right down the road from me. I mean, when you look at these issues, they've had our system for 20 years. 2012, the city of Freeport purchased a SCADA system. How come it hasn't been used? Now they want to say, hey, City of Freeport, let's buy another SCADA system at $500,000 cost. 2012. Now they want to bring in an electrician. Let's see, what was the other? Mechanics. Why are they just now proposing this? I mean, you've had our system for so long, and now when we decide that, hey, we want to take it back and do better for our residents, now you want to propose these improvements? The fun one is going to their slide, maximizing your investments, turning unused water into revenue. residents, just to let you know. And was it June or May, Rudy, where we had our water overage? May? We've just been made aware, the city went over our water usage that we've contracted out with Violia by 2 million gallons for a month, when we don't even use half of it on a daily basis. Where's the oversight? 2 million gallons for a month? I mean, there must have been a leak, or they pumped something, or they're pumping it and selling it. Somebody is. Interesting. Incompetency is what I'm seeing so far by management. Water meters. They say we cost our taxpayers $1 million. Who here knows what the life expectancy of a water meter with a fan is? It's 10 years. I called on a really good friend who is an engineer and is over the water for a city just to the north of us. 10 years. Every 10 years, their city replaces meters. When we replaced our meters, some of the meters that we were pulling out of the ground were over 15 years old. Fans were bent. That means people were not paying for their water. They were getting more water than what they were being actually charged for. Some weren't even working. Who's in charge of the water meters? Violia. They show a beautiful picture of a in-house camera truck. Let's go to Avenue J, right by the apartments. There's a lift station. They started replacing pipes because it was backing up into the apartments. They brought in a contractor, replaced the pipes. Turns out, it wasn't even the pipes. It was a manhole that collapsed, but they didn't have a camera truck to see it. And yet they charged us. Yes, sir. If you'll come to the. Okay. It's still not on.
I need to make a correction on that.
Okay.
It wasn't actually a manhole, it was a tap that had collapsed.
Oh, tap in?
Yes.
Okay, tap in that collapse, sorry. Still, we're replacing pipes that didn't need to be replaced. They also have another beautiful picture of Slaughter Road water, wastewater site. Absence of generators. The residents over there are in my ward, Mr. Aloiso. Every time they lose power, they also lose water because there's no backup generator. It's been like that for years, but yet they haven't brought anything to us to let us know. I knew this was all coming to a head, so I asked for some numbers of R&M overage that we pay annually to them. Starting in 2020, we had to pay them more than $78,617 for the year. 2021, $60,000. 2022, $281,672.48 in overages. We basically gave them a blank check for that year. It said here. 2023, $339,415. 2024, it went down to $179,390. And this year alone, as of May 20 in 2025, they've already spent $90,474. In those 5 years, in addition to the contract, we've given them $17,039,441 to run our water system, and we don't have any improvements whatsoever. $17,039,441. Five years. And it was 4.5. And now, because we as a council have been made aware of these issues, and we want to make sure that we're doing right by our taxpayers, by our businesses, that's why we're trying to make a change. It's going to continue to go up if we keep giving them a blank check like we have been. And so, question for you. It doesn't matter who answers it. Over these 20 years, looking at the contract that was signed, and I'll read a little portion. It states, if actual maintenance, no wait, hold on, sorry. Upon termination of this agreement and all renewals and extensions of it, Violia will return the project to Freeport in the same condition as it was upon commencement date of this agreement, ordinary wear and tear accepted. Equipment and other personal property purchased by Viola for use in operation or maintenance of the project shall remain the property of Viola upon termination of this agreement, unless the property was directly paid for by Viola or by Freeport, or Freeport specifically reimbursed Viola for the costs incurred to purchase the property of, or this agreement provides to the contrary. Showing you the pictures of just some of our lift stations and that. I know we didn't turn it over in those conditions. Are y'all ready to cut us a check to repair those, to bring it back into same condition, minus some ordinary wear and tear? Because that's not ordinary wear and tear. That's failure to maintain. No, I'm not done. But no, you can come and answer, yeah. No.
Let's let Mr. Matamoros finish.
No, I want to answer to that question.
Yeah, go ahead and finish. We'll let him answer afterwards.
I mean, this is just a few that I've been able to go and look at. Haven't been able to look at every pump station, lift station. They want us to continue to give them a contract to run our system when, Toby, if you can go to the notices from social media. These are all releases that the city has sent since my time on council of boil water notices. And it's all because you have, stop right there, sorry. It's all because we have contractors who come in and they're told, yep, this is the place you can do what you need to do your work. There's not a line there, and yet they'll hit a line because of the incompetency where they haven't over the past 20 years correctly documented where the lines are. This leak right here, October 22nd. Go to the next one, Toby. Okay, yeah, no, go back to that October 22nd. This notice right here directly affected my neighborhood. I was without water pressure for 2 hours, but yet didn't receive a boil water notice. That Violia didn't, they said, nope, didn't need to. They had to open up 4 fire hydrants to release the pressure. But yet I had 0 water and didn't receive a boil water notice. But if we can continue to go, and you can just go, next one, you'll see, oh, there's a boil water notice. They'll release them when they feel like it. All of these emergency water line repairs that affect all of our residents, all of our businesses. 2023 was a pretty busy year. I mean, 2024 now we're in. All of these requests that we had to go and send out to our residents because of that. Pure incompetency from the management. Mr. Brian Carter, who states he was here for 21 months straight. And yet we have all the issues. I know in my profession, if I'm over a project, and it fails, I'm the one that gets in trouble, not a supervisor who they will probably try and blame. I'm the one that would have that fall on me. But you heard every single one of them up here. Not us. It was the city. They didn't take not one single ounce of responsibility for their failure to maintain our water system for over 20 years.
He turned his mic off.
And do the little clicker still.
Hello.
First off, this is what we're looking for is communication. And I'll even start to say that we appreciate your enthusiasm towards this, your passion. And actually we ask that perhaps we can explore that and use that together in a more fruitful way. But I do appreciate, we can see his passion here. And I do appreciate that. And I do think there's opportunity here for us to use that for the better of the taxpayer and for the city here and so forth. One of the things that I guess what I understand from a practical standpoint, this slideshow that was presented by Matamoros that we had no vision of? Is that typical? I know we had to submit all of our stuff in by Thursday. I'm surprised to see this document made it without us even seeing it. Is that's kind of, I'm just wondering why or how that happened, I guess. Anyways, one of the things that I wanted to do is last week, a little over a week ago, sir, you made some comments about things that we are failing to do, things that were concerning. And one of the slides I wanted to actually bring up is camera. One of the comments you made last week was Violia fails to own a camera truck, fails to have a push camera, has no means to TV anything. Our camera truck's right there. I'll even, if you want to, tomorrow we can get coffee tomorrow in the camera truck. I can show you how the whole thing works and how we use it in your system. The challenge we're having is that I know you're very excited on this and you want to see change for your residents, and we really appreciate that, but we want you to be able to work with the facts of what's actually happening. And that's where it's very challenging for us to be the best partner for you when you're working with misinformation like this, where I guess you can go to the records of last week's meeting. We reviewed the whole video, the whole meeting we had last week on Monday. Your statement was there is no camera truck, there's no push rod, there's no way for us to see what's inside that line. And, well, it's right there. And it's right at the yard right now. And I welcome and ask you, if you want to see it tomorrow, we can tomorrow get coffee and spend time in that camera truck. That's the part that I want to work with you to be aligned, to share that passion together on the right items. Another item that was mentioned last week, generators. Actually, you just brought up again the generators. Last week, the criticism was that we're not maintaining these generators. You talked to, what was it again, James, about?
Talked to an operator at Slaughter Road and didn't know how to operate the generator. Well, there is no generator on site, and there has never been a generator on site at Slaughter Road.
So, sir,
So I didn't say that there wasn't a generator. I said that when they lose power, there's no way to have water. I said there is a generator that was there because that's what I've been told and seen that hasn't been on in years.
So this is not meant to be accusatory. It's more what I'm trying to highlight and show here is that I want to work with you. I want to give you the information to share the passion together to do the best for the citizen and for the residents. What I'm seeing here is a systematic pattern of information that you're probably not seeing the full picture on, and we want to work with you and share that with you to make the right decisions and work with the city as a singular unit. And I can dive into one by one of all the comments are made there, but I don't think it's beneficial. I'm here at your disposal. I don't fly out till midday tomorrow. We can go through one by one. We can spend time together and in person show you what we're actually encountering and how we can work better together. That's all I'm asking. That's all I've ever been asking is I want to be worth you. I've asked this the last 7 months, and it was not allowed, and we weren't able to do this. So try not to make this a back and forth. I'm asking that you take your passion and your enthusiasm you have, which is very admirable, and work with us towards a solution that's best for these people here in the room.
And I would just like to make a comment on the 2012, I believe you said the SCADA system that the city purchased. I arrived here in October of 21. The SCADA system that was installed in 2012, I walked in, looked at the screen. It is that same screen today. I know for a fact that Lance, Mr. Kelty, people before them had been working with whomever the vendor was that the city paid for this. They never come and got it right. It has never been right since I got here. It might have been purchased in 2012. That's first I knew that's when it was purchased. But it has never been online. Everything appears to be full. The pumps seem to be running or this one off, but it doesn't work.
And to add to it, kind of like, sorry, but like it's important. It's kind of like the meter project. It's not but the actual compare, it's the software. It's kind of like your phone. Apple seems like every 3 or 4 years they outdate my phone. My phone looks great, there's nothing wrong with it, but they change the softwares and makes it antiquated that way. This system from what, 2012 you said? That is 2 iterations, if anything, so past its useful life. So like, once again, I want to make this fruitful, engaging to answer the questions you have, but when we have a lot of false information being passed our way as accusatory, we don't want to go one by one. We want to find a way to work together to a solution that makes sense, that is helpful for moving forward. And like I said, I don't know what's best, how to best address these comments. I want to give you the opportunity to do as y'all see fit.
And also, y'all's going through the budget right now, correct? Y'all been through it with each department. I know for a fact since February of 22, so February 23, 24, and 25, I myself, along with some of our team that we have all around, work together to give the city a strategic plan or an ACP, an annual capital plan of things that we say this needs to be fixed. We put all of our lift stations in. We categorized them 1 to 30, said this is worst. The only thing in 4 years that I know of that the city has took out of them manuals is the 3 lift stations a year plus ago. They took them out of there and fixed them. Other than that, Mr. Kane, you remember them manuals. We used to give them to you every February. I mean, we've done our homework and said this, and this doesn't work. You know.
Is there any particular questions you want us to answer? Or?
Well, yeah, answer
That's fair.
why the SCADA system. Y'all have been in charge of our system for 20 years. And that system since 2012, when it was purchased brand new, has never worked. Why?
I don't know. In 2012, I wasn't here. I was here in 21.
But that's the company.
Previous management,
That's your
city
company.
manager, mayor told us they are handling it. The city actually hired and brought somebody in and paid. They never came back and finished wiring it up and all that. That's on the city. I know that for a fact.
But how do you know it for a fact if you weren't here?
When I got here in 21, when the city, Lance and Mr. Kelty, then moved forward with a contractor to get the new system, the city had paid for them. They came down and worked 2 or 3 days, would come back, and then they never came back and finished it.
Okay, so 2021. So between 2012 to 2021, Violia has been in charge of our system. How come y'all haven't gotten it working? I mean, that's on y'all. We've given y'all control of our system.
We don't have an answer. None of us were here, so an apology is in order. It's not operating, okay? Matt had spoke to a solution for that out of our pocket to make things right and to move forward, so that's an alternative there. What I think James was trying to stress is it is not just Violia and not just the city. It's a partnership. We operate the system. We do not own the assets. We operate them. We advise on repairs and maintenance. I do know there's a discussion about the overage on the repairs and maintenance. That happens when assets are not capitalized. They have ran past their useful life, been submitted on a capital plan to be replaced, not replaced. We do our best to continue to keep them running, because I promise you, every one of those guys that come out, and gals, excuse me, with a Violia on their shirt are there to support these folks here in the room. They're doing their best every day with one hand tied behind their back, trying to use R&M funds to keep a system operating. We're still as committed today as we were yesterday or any other day. We need a partnership. And as the owner of the assets, those plans come forward to say this needs to be replaced. But it's not exactly fair to tell us we owe you a brand new system when y'all have not financed to recapitalize it for several years. We can maintain it, and we've been doing that and keeping things operating, but it results in a lot of problems, like boil water orders from water main breaks. Those pipes are past their useful life. We need to partner with you and replace them. Add valves, broken valves beyond their useful life. These are not things we do as an operator of the system, but we advise. We can do it, but over the past 18 months, under the administration before now, they took that away from us. So now our other hand's tied behind our back. I promise you this team, I have talked with them on the phone. I've been involved when these emergencies occur because these messages come all the way up the ladder. We have a team that helps to handle those situations, ensure that the Department of Environmental Quality is notified, that those boil waters are going out. A boil water order issued is a warning to the citizens out of care to say there is an issue, you need to be aware of it and take action to prevent illness. It is not always a bad thing. You have system pressure loss, and so we're adequately educating the community to say, hey, the water needs to be tested, do not consume it, boil it, and when we've confirmed those results and the water is safe, you may resume drinking water. So it is not always a bad thing, sir. I understand they are a nuisance, and believe me, we will do everything we can to avoid them, but that is a normal mode of operatus when operating water systems, when you lose system pressure.
Correct. And you just made another point that I was going to also talk about. Valve maintenance. We have so many valves throughout the city that are seized up because there's lack of maintenance. Again, that falls on y'all, because we say, hey, here's our system. They seize up. Where's the maintenance?
Again, in that ACP or strategic plan, there is a program in there for replacing the valves to be able, like you mentioned earlier, isolate the system. You're correct. There's some place in this town you cannot isolate. You might have to go 3 or 4 blocks down this way, 3 or 4 this way. But if we have a leak now in a certain area, we are cutting a valve in as we fix the leak, putting the pipe back in, or we'll have valves. But there is in that ACP, and again was told, hold off on that. But when we have leaks or breaks, we are installing a valve back now.
But what I'm trying to say is, how come y'all haven't been doing the maintenance? That's the biggest thing, is our maintenance. It hasn't been done.
So in the last, was about 2.5 years ago, the city sent us a letter of non-conformance or something from, I believe, Olson & Olson. One of them was talking about maintenance. We did reply and showed that we have been meeting the needs of maintenance for the city. We have yet to receive a response from the city from said letter. That's something else that we requested about 7 months ago, was a response, a bunch of accusatory items, things that we had concern that were being said against us. We clarified, asking for us to discuss it, go through it more, and that has been silent since, and still haven't seen anything. So it goes back to, I'm not trying to be repetitive, but it's about the communication and us wanting to work together. It's been very challenging in the last iteration here with the restructuring here within the city to have that. And this is an example here where, I get it, you want results, you want to know things, you want to have information. That's what we want to be able to share with you, but there's been the restrictions put on us that don't give us that ability to do so, because it's not being shared within y'all. I guess is anything else, sir, or do we move on, or as this works?
Yeah, let's move on. Councilman Pena?
Sorry, I was going to try to stay as silent as possible.
Oh, man.
Just listen.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, you weren't hanging around the chief today, were you?
Yeah. No. Once again, thank y'all for the presentation, for the transparency. I guess that was a good presentation there you had, but that's not even in the packet. So you just bring that out and not put that in the packet and not give people the chance to answer, to have answers to your questions. See, that's our problem here in Freeport, and you always laughing over there. Because it's funny to you, because you've been one of the ones sitting up here lying to me on about what they doing.
You're attacking me over issues that I'm showing
Gentlemen.
of deficiencies.
I've been trying to get a meeting over 9 months or so, get you guys, the whole council, the city manager, to meet with these guys. If this was so much of a problem, we've been sitting here, I've been over here over a year, and y'all haven't met with these people and sat down and tried to come to a conclusion to this problem. How can we fix this problem? We haven't sit back and see that it's been no communication here.
I mean, I've been here almost a little over a year. So now we up here, you're all aggressive and you know, look at this problem, look at this problem. They had plenty of time. I mean, we had plenty of time to come here and meet behind closed doors over there and address these problems. I have asked, you know I've asked, you know I've asked, you know I've asked, you know I have asked. Y'all heard the conversation. Y'all gave me y'all input on what you thought about the situation. Nobody wants to meet with them. This is how you solve a problem. If there's a problem, you call if you got a problem at your job, because you made it a point on your presentation that if something at your job happened, then you the one gonna get in trouble, not the supervisor. Okay, well, if it's a problem, we the supervisors call the employee in. Hey, look, this is getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand. You know, now I'm in a position, now we didn't voted on some meters. See, don't nobody want to talk about all that, but we didn't voted on some meters and was only told that there was only one bid. Now we voted on $3 million meters, so that's on me. I have to take accountability for that if that's wrong. Every time, if you go back to look in meetings, there's a lot of bids come in and say that it's only one bid. Now, these people come in here and say they presented a bid for $2 million and 100 free installs to see how it works. We ain't heard nothing about that. We ain't heard nothing about that. But we not taking no accountability in-house. That's what's got to stop, man. We have to. What else we had? You got some of this stuff, and that's right. You know, they got to clean up better. They got to do better. You know, on some of that slideshow you have. But that's not all facts. That wasn't all facts. And that's what confuses everybody when we throw in stuff, and that's not facts. You throw in that monitor thing. You don't have all the facts to that. And that's because there's no communication with that side and our side. We know we ain't had no communication with the city manager part. So that's what we have all this information, and nobody wants to get both sides of the story. That is what God has to stop here. What else we had? The pump situation. Every time I brought this up, let's have a meeting, that's the first thing y'all holler about. Some pumps over here, 15, by McDonald's. Every last one of y'all. That was your main thing, these pumps. Well, come to find out, they wasn't even in charge of fixing the pumps. The pumps got taken from them by the city, taken somewhere else, which they had suggested that they be taken somewhere else and let somebody else fix it. Pumps disappear. So we have bypass pumps that we paying for. But that's their fault. The pumps come back, not fixed. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars buying some more. Pumps still ain't put in. But we say that's their fault. pump still over there, sitting over there. Y'all voted, y'all paid, that's taxpayers' money, just sitting there. Just sitting there. Because we are not being transparent. All of these pipes and these leaks up under the ground, how old are these pipes under the ground? How long does it take us? It's going to take time to replace these pipes. They going to leak. But is that their responsibility to buy us new pipes? Just a lot of this stuff could have been avoided and could have been worked out. And, you know, now you at crunch time and you sitting here, we sitting here, you know, trying to point the finger at everybody and saying back and forth, you know, everybody got to point the finger now. It's crunch time. They got to point the finger at us. You got to point the finger at them. You got to put out what you see wrong. They put their presentation out here for everybody to see. And if you had any questions, then you could see it and be ready for the meeting. And we come in here with a surprise slideshow. Still trying to throw some slick move. We got to be transparent. We got to do better. We wasting a lot of money, you know, and nobody wants to be held accountable for it. What I hear, we both made some mistakes, but if you're not communicating and you're not working on how to fix the problem, then that's how all the grass and the weeds grow. Because we don't sit down. We got the same thing in-house, in our own house. We gotta fix our own house. And y'all out here trying to take over something else. It's got too much going on.
Councilman Pena. You gonna wait?
I wanted to refer to the elderly first, my elder statesman.
You gonna wait?
I'm
Is that
gonna
what you're
wait.
saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Just, I wasn't sure if Councilman Rosso had any other questions or not.
No questions.
Okay. Well, okay, that's what actually I was waiting for. I thought Mr. Rosso still had some other questions.
Before you go on, I don't think I heard any questions come from Councilman Davis. Is that what y'all heard? Okay, nothing that y'all need to rebut.
No, I didn't ask no question.
All right, just wanted to make sure. Now go ahead, Mr. Pena.
Thank you. And there's so many different ways we can slice this. I don't know how many people are online here tonight watching this, but this is probably one of the most important decisions for the city. So I want to thank everybody that came out and showed their concern. But I know there's a lot of businesses that are hurting. I know there's a lot of families that are hurting. And obviously it's costing the city a lot of money. And I think I always hear the phrase, mistakes were made. And the question I have is, could they have been avoided? Were they on purpose? And quite frankly, tonight wasn't even supposed to be about this. See, we originally, a couple of weeks ago, we had a budget meeting. And it was myself and Councilman Davis and all the directors. And that was one of the most positive meetings, constructive meetings. All the directors were there. I wish the cameras were rolling then, because then you guys could see what real dialogue is versus finger pointing and blaming. Big difference. But instead tonight, we're set up in this particular forum where it's just finger pointing and blaming. And it just brings me back to what I've always said. It starts at the top. So I want to make sure that I play a little, I didn't get my PowerPoint presentation into Mr. Cohen, but I did have it on my phone. So I wanted to show my slide, but I wanted to make sure that you guys heard my slide, because this is really where it starts.
Motherfucker down business-wise until then.
Let me rephrase that again, or replay that.
Wait till you're out here. We'll shut this motherfucker down business-wise until then. We'll shut this motherfucker down.
Councilman
business-wise
Pena.
Hold on.
Well, hold on.
Kane.
The difference between your slide
Let me finish. Let me
and
finish my
Councilman
point.
Matamoros' slide, Councilman
Jerry,
Matamoros was on
Jerry,
topic the
Jerry,
complete entire time.
This is entirely on topic. Let me make my point first. You want to dictate my narrative? Just tell me not to speak then, because that's what Bass did, and it's my understanding that's what Bass does. He tells you what to do. Stand on your own feet, sir. Allow me to speak. That's what I got elected to do.
I'm going to
And
allow
gonna
you to
make my
speak, but
point,
I want
and
you
I'm
to
gonna
keep
make
it
my
on
point.
topic.
This is completely on topic. Just the same way last week when we talked about the budget, when Councilman Davis said, hey, we're talking about the budget, of course this is relevant. Well, this is about leadership, and this is about accountability. This is about mistakes, whether they were purposeful or not. I can't help it. These are not my words.
And this is about Violia.
Yes, and this is the point.
That's not a point.
Wait till you're out here. We'll shut this
Councilman
motherfucker down
Pena.
business-wise until then. We'll shut this motherfucker down
Councilman
business-wise
Pena.
until then.
We're going to stop it now, or I'm going to ask you to leave.
Here's the deal. I hope we started enough exposure here and transparency to figure out one thing. It starts at the top. And what that audio proved is that Lance Petty collaborated with Jerry Kane to shut down the city's businesses, to shut down the city's budgets and projects and departments. You want to gavel somebody down, gavel the audience, Jerry, so that I can speak respectfully. If you don't like what I have to say, you don't have to be here. You can watch it at home. But you're going to sit here respectfully, just the same way we sit here respectfully with you guys. We're supposed to be trying to do this together. My point to this all is that here's the ugly, dirty truth. You heard there was an agenda request on December 31st by Councilman Davis and Councilman Rosso, because we got notified that there was a letter that went out to Violia, which Violia's staff just came out tonight to say they've never received a response. That's true. But let's talk about the dirty truths beforehand. And I mentioned this briefly at the last meeting. This all got started in August because basically the city did not want to take responsibility for that pump station at 15. They didn't want to talk about how the money that was needed to pay for those pumps were at the fault of the city and what Lance's role was. And he sent that off to another contractor when in fact the contractor that should have been fixing it was in fact supposed to be Violia. So then Violia contacted council in August of 2024, about 10 months ago, or 11 months ago now. And that's where all of this began. This became just a big personal vendetta by Lance Petty against Violia for speaking up and defending themselves to clarify the record that in fact they were not at fault on this one issue. On this one issue. Where there's smoke, there's fire. They did this, and the sad truth of the matter is that there was so much more going on that was wrong. And so what happened is that out of revenge, Lance decides he's no longer going to talk to Violia. And guess who he was talking to at the time? Every time we've been made aware of any communications that Lance had with council, it was with Jerry Kane. So Jerry Kane knew about the modus and the planning and the non-communication with Violia. Because Violia then reached out to every council saying, hey, we're trying to get a meeting. We're trying to get a meeting. We'd like to communicate. We'd like to solve this problem. How can you solve a problem when two people are not talking, when one person resides, or one side decides to refuse to communicate, but instead sends illegal threatening letters and pretending that the city council actually approved that letter to terminate the agreement with Violia? And that was completely untrue. And it was illegal, in fact, by Petty to do that. What ended up happening was, and the mayor was CC'd on that, and I'm sorry, I didn't put together a nice little wonderful PowerPoint presentation here because I didn't think we were going to get into all this. But I have those receipts too. Those emails where the mayor is in fact CC'd, where all of council is CC'd in fact, and Olson and Olson. Guess who's not here? Olson and Lance Petty. We want a clean house. We want to get rid of Violia. No, that's not where it starts. It's on our side, my friends. I know you might have personal relationships with these folks, but you don't have the exposure to them that I do. You don't have the exposure to them that the rest of council has, because we see the dirty underbelly of mischievous and illegal deeds. And so I try to make it transparent so that everybody sees it. And what do I get for it? I get attacked. I try to get silenced. They got the opinion rules and the agenda rules. Oh, it gets worse than that, though. I get attacked and assaulted. Former mayor tried to assault me. Councilman Matamoros, short-tempered, tried to attack me too.
Lies.
Councilman, can we keep it on topic, please,
It's
sir?
entirely on topic.
You're way off at this point.
It's so bad that Councilman Matamoros has such a bad temper that people basically tell him
Lies. Pure lies.
that the sun is
Matamoros.
up in the mornings. Was that a pure lie? Come on, let me finish. Councilman Matamoros, you have a group of professional men here tonight who are saying, hey, let's work this out. They've been trying to do that for 9 months. Before that, they were actually looking to us for help to say, hey, we just want to make sure we set the record straight. But because you refuse, you made up your mind because somebody tells you who to hate and who to attack, and that your mind is made up. There are residents here that have been a victim of that, not just me. In fact, one of the executives for Violia was attacked verbally outside of these chambers earlier this year. I had left, but there was witnesses. You know who one of the witnesses were, or was, or is? It's one of our officers. And I don't see that officer here tonight, but I guarantee you, they reached out to me and told me, hey, yeah, that happened. The Violia executives were too polite tonight to point that out. Why? Because they're not looking to place blame. They're not trying to just muddy up the waters. They're trying to be constructive, and that's what we need to be here. We need to be constructive, but we need to be honest. We need to be honest with ourselves, and we need to be honest with the situation at hand. Because here's something else that happened along the way in these last 9 months. And I want to go back to 2022, and I want to go back to 2021. But you may have heard the very polite way of saying there was issues. There was issues that kept coming up. And that's how Violia was bringing it up, and they were being polite. And I appreciate your professionalism and your courtesy and your politeness. But I need to make sure that the public knows and understands what the truth is. And that is, when you're over here trying to say, hey, we're going to bring this in-house because you guys can't handle this, but in the same breath, you're stealing their staff, you're poaching their employees, that's pretty crazy. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be poaching the team that you're accusing of not knowing what to do. You should probably go get some other people, but no. So it's kind of hypocritical, it's dishonest, and it's very revealing on really what those individuals know. But let me go back to 2020. I got elected in 2020, December of 2020, on a runoff. In 2021, I sat here, I was just curious to see who was still in the audience. There was one councilman here who, for whatever reason, oh, actually, I do know why. It's because residents from the concerned citizens gave me a whole bunch of evidence to investigate him. And so he also then decided not to like me and attack me and just disparage me. But what's crazy about that councilman was Troy Brimage. You guys know him. He ended up owing the city over $200,000.
Councilman.
My point is this. Do you know that as
Wait.
much as Troy Brimage did not want to work with me, we actually agreed on one thing in the 2 years that he and I were on council together. Forget the Mayor, can you gavel the comments over here? I'm hearing comments from his family.
I've been listening to comments coming from over here for the last 10 minutes
Well, I have the
that
floor.
are not.
I have the floor.
That are not on topic.
They're entirely on topic. My point is that in 2021, Troy Brimage and I agreed on one thing, and that is that the city was completely unqualified to bring it in-house, to bring in the water system, the wastewater system, the sewer system, none of it. And at that point, everybody was pointing at getting rid of Violia. And so the conversation was had, well, what's going on here? Who's in charge? And so the council decided then. They met with Violia and they said, hey, listen, we do not like who you have here, your boots on the ground. And so they got their lead person out of here so that they could stay here, with the agreement then that they would give us a list, fresh faces, and they would start addressing all the issues. Well, so that happened. And I think that's how we got Mr. James Carter. And so that happened until 2023. There was another conversation we had. We had it up here. And unlike this meeting, we talked about Violia's contract in executive session. I'm not sure that that was even legal, but Olson and Olson said we could do it. So it's got to be legal, right? No. But we're over here on the second floor of the police station. And what happens? We decide, well, I actually said we should get rid of them if they do not start fixing all the items. Do we have a list of all the items? Let's get a list. And if they want to cooperate, then we'll keep them on on their contract, because we had 2 years left on the contract. And the issues were addressed. And the plan was, we do not want to eat the last 2 years of their contract because we didn't have anybody to replace them in-house. And so we said, well, let's at least try to see if they're going to work with us. And they did. Now, I'm not here to say that there weren't other problems. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of photos of a lot of mud, a lot of swampy water, a lot of tall grass, a lot of machinery. It can mean whatever we want it to mean, but I could just tell you this, is that what bothers me the most is the dishonest dialogue coming from the city. Listen, I'm just a resident here that wears a funny hat. The only reason I wear this hat is because it gets cold in here sometimes. It keeps me warm.
That also doesn't pay hotel
But the
occupancy
thing about it
taxes.
is that my point is, we have a lot of work ahead of us, and we cannot have any results without transparency, and you can't have any real transparency unless you're being honest. And the city is not being honest right now. And so I go back to saying, look, I'm just a volunteer. I'm just a resident. Under this hat, I'm just your neighbor. And I'm telling you, if I was buying a TV at Rent-A-Center or a used car, I'd be asking these same questions and knowing who's lying. And I don't think anybody's fooled. Like, we can go into all of these details of, hey, listen, what about pump 15 and pump 7 and pump 4 and what about that and what about this? I think the real solution here is, and the real obvious answer is that, hey, we're between a rock and a hard place. We don't have time, and we still don't have the people to do this job. We don't. And if we think that we're going to hire those people, that expense hasn't been outlined. And the machinery, that expense hasn't been outlined. And we're going to try to fast track this? No. Hell no. Listen, I mean, I said this at the last meeting. We're not bringing this in-house. That is just ridiculous. We don't have the team. We don't. And we don't have the time to try to build a team. And we have Violia here, and they've been trying to speak with us for the last 9, 10, 11 months. Nothing. Radio silence. Radio silence. So when you're quick to criticize the third-party contractor, let's see what they've actually done. If they had not even tried to communicate with the city, I'd be singing a different tune tonight. But they had been, and they were asking council over and over. You know what's a funny story is, well, I better not tell you that story, because there's a lot of funny ones, but then I'll probably get gabbled on those. All I can say is that, you know, I don't want to attack Councilman Matamoros in his presentation. There are a lot of flaws. I have a lot of questions. But I could tell you, you know, Violia's been here 20 years. We talk about they've known all these problems for 20 years. I got on the scene in 2021, tried to make the best decisions for the city. And I think we have been up until this last 9 months. And these last 9 months, you cannot solve any of these problems with no communication. And when that communication, that non-communication, is green-lighted by Jerry Kane and George Matamoros, that's a problem. So don't expect those two to change their mind. I hope they will. I hope they'll put their pride aside and just say, you know what, let me do what's best for the city of Freeport and not what's best for my ego, because I'd hate to look like I was wrong this whole time or that Pena exposed me yet again. We just got to put on our big boy pants and do the right thing for this city. And I know that we're gonna hear the city's part, but I'm gonna tell you guys, I appreciate your concern for the city, but it hasn't been lost on any of us that the city is ill prepared to do it. If I thought we actually had the staff and that there was a way forward in the next 2.5 months, or even for that matter, let's just say there was another year, I'd say, well, let's look at that. But we don't. We don't have a year, and we barely have 2.5 months. And I hate this whole, well, we got to make a decision right away. That's not my fault. That's not Violia's fault. That's Jerry Kane's fault. That's George Matamoros' fault. But I'm not trying to place blame here. I just want you guys to know, let's move forward. Like I said, this whole conversation was supposed to be in the second floor or at the new City Hall on Avenue H. I don't even call it the new City Hall. It's the building we're using on Avenue H. There's a conference room. We had a really lovely meeting a couple of weeks ago with the board directors because I had a very intimate setting and everybody was not combative. Everybody was trying to be constructive. Yeah, believe it or not, that happens. It can happen. And we could have had that tonight. And we can still have it tonight by just saying, hey, you know what, let's wrap this up. Let's all admit that, you know, we have good people on our city staff, but they're not equipped. And that the city, for all its good intentions to try to save money right now, well, we're in this pickle for a reason. There's enough blame to go around, but like I said, we can get this contract right. Keep it with Violia, but make sure the contract has teeth. They want a 10-year contract. I say we go with a 5-year contract. They want to look at renewing every 3 years. I want to look at renewing every 2 years. That's just my starters. But if there's some other issues where we're bleeding water and we're bleeding money, we got to address those immediately, not 2 years from now. You know, the quote here earlier, and I always hate it when people are sensationalizing numbers. And the sensationalization of the numbers was, we're losing 2 million gallons of water this last month. We didn't lose 2 million gallons of water this last month of May. The city buys 2 million. And apparently we went over that 2 million, but we usually use somewhere between 1.5 to 1.7 million. So there's a 300,000 overage, not a $2 million overage. coverage. I want to make sure that that's clearly stated. Unless somebody else here can say that, in fact, it was 2.3 million. No. So let's not sensationalize with false information. That's not the case. And I asked the city staff to work with Violia. I asked the rest of council to be honest. I mean, listen, I came in here tonight. I know that I had already seen enough math to know, and then enough numbers and enough problems from the city side, from the council side, to know that we had to keep it, stay the course with Violia, and we couldn't bring it in-house. But I left an open mind. I said, unless there's just something really crazy, and there hasn't been. It's just been finger pointing, all the same. There's going to be some more information that comes out. And I just hope that between all of this other mess that's going to be coming out, that those folks that are still here continue to try to work together. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I've got a couple questions for the Violia folks. First off, a comment was made that y'all send monthly reports, okay? And I didn't catch it. Was it you are currently doing that, or is something that is going to start? Okay, yeah, we'll do it all on one. Matthew, you and I spoke a few weeks back, and we spoke a few weeks back, and one of the questions I had with you at that time, and I still have this concern, is we're just now planning on bringing a mechanic and an electrician on board, okay? Other cities in the surrounding area have taken the water and wastewater in-house, and they have their own mechanics, and they do regular preventive maintenance on the equipment. I have a bit of concern that for 20 years we've been doing this without a mechanic or electrician. Okay, I honestly feel like now it is a case where, oh my God, we're fixing to lose this contract. We're going to have to step up our game. Okay, Mr. Carter, you're shaking your head. No, that's not the way it is. But I'm telling you, that's the feeling that we're getting up here. You had mentioned that the cost of the contractors that have been used, you did not mark up the cost that they charged you to bill us. You have a confused look on your face, so
Yeah.
that's give me some clarification on that. Lift station, I think it is 27, the one out at Bridge Harbor. The pump that's out there has been on rent for 19 months. Okay, I would like to know what the plan is, what's going on with that, why is it 19 months later and it's still sitting there? Okay, and I am in agreement with Councilman Pena. If we decide to continue with Violia, then a 10-year contract is, as far as I'm concerned, out of the question. So if you could answer those questions for me, I'd appreciate it.
No, thank you. Sorry, just to refresh the memory. What was the first one?
Monthly operations report.
So, yes.
The MOR is what we call it, the monthly operating report, has been sent to the city manager and the mayor.
I've been the mayor for over a year. I've never seen one.
Okay. For up to 3 years until Mayor before Mr. Bass said it didn't need to send it to him, so we was sending it to Kelty and Lance at that time. We have, even up to last month, I believe we started sending it to Jennifer and I believe Rudy. We added Rudy to the list. So there is a MOR that shows exactly how many work orders, what we do, and it is presented. If you want added to that list, we can add you to that list.
Okay.
To add to our conversation, what I showed too in the slide deck was more of an enhanced version. Frankly, the MOR is good, but it's not great. And that's where I want to spend time with you to build a document that is useful for this council to share information on both sides to be productive. So what the examples I gave were where I want to head versus what we have.
To the pump at lift station 27, that issue, I was going to say 2 years, but you said 19 months. So that issue was brought to city in reference to the amount of silt and sand that come into that lift station, that the way that was designed, that the pumps that are currently in that can could not get it out. It was causing all kind of issues, plugging up and everything. So we got the backup pump there, the bypass pump, hooked it up. Since then, I know of 3 or 4 times within the last year has been brought up. Supposedly what I was told last time was your engineers, the city engineers, was looking into this to possibly build some kind of sand filter in between surf sides and that can where it comes in and feeds to that can. Is there was going to be some kind of sand filter that possibly was going to be engineered to put in there.
That's not the story I've been told. And here, ladies and gentlemen, lies the issue. Okay, I don't always agree with Councilman Pena. Okay, and we're gonna revisit that here in a second. The comment you made about the contractors.
Yes. So when we were dealing with staffing challenges back this winter, we brought these staff in at my expense. Those expenses were not shared to the city. We can review that through the R&M. Not a single one was shared. Like I said, I bled pretty hard those months paying for outside contractors to meet the obligations of this contract. So if there's anyone want to review and see, but like I said, I know we paid out of pocket quite a few times.
I was going to say majority of it, but there is some items that was not O&M. If it was a new line across the road or something of that nature, then we did have the contractor do that. And it was at a cost because a new 4-inch sewer tap, for instance, we charge the city X amount of dollars. The city charges the customer a certain amount, and same way with the water taps, new water, new sewer taps as well.
Okay.
And then regarding the mechanic side, it's a mechanic, but really it's an electrician. With what we're trying to facilitate and do with the digitalization here in Freeport, it's more electrical focused, the mechanic. But what we have, really a lot of our smaller sites is not a true operator and maintenance department. It's more what we call O&M techs. They're basically more like a jack of all trade dynamic. I mean, even Mr. Isaac the other day was out there fixing our excavator, and he's out there changing hydraulic hoses. I mean, I'd call that mechanic, even though on paper he's not. So it's just, we have a very talented staff here that we're very proud of, that are cross-trained to do work on both machinery as well as operate equipment or be out there in the field to do the work. So it's, I'm calling it mechanic electrician, but really it's focused on the IC side to tackle the costs that we're seeing on the R&M with the needs of the current system, as well as to give a means to facilitate these upgrades that we want to work with you on to optimize this facility.
Okay, thank you. My last comment was, 10-year contracts out of the question.
All we're asking is to talk. Without going to a lot of that's what we've been asking for a while. That's all we're going to do here is this will open basically if to move forward is a negotiation of what those terms are, and we've even suggested adding KPIs to add some teeth to have accountability. So with that, we don't repeat history, because this is not the dynamic we want either. We want to be this proud partner, and like I said, a lot of man hours, a lot of times put into this, and we want to best this on both situations.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Mayor, if I could, just one comment.
Yes, sir.
In the spirit of moving forward with that as well, too, a piece on the communication that's been missing is typically at contracts, we come in and brief councils. One meeting a month. If there's 2 or if there's a singular, the MOR can go into your packet. We're happy to stand here, represent the operations for the month, discuss things. We want to come in front of you and have the dialogue. So as a condition of moving forward, that would be kind of a condition we would ask for. The opportunity to brief this council so that you're fully aware what's going on, and then there's no break of the communication.
Understood. Moving on. Thank you, gentlemen. Rudy, you ready?
If I may bring Ashley up also.
Yes.
Mayor, council, I want to tell you a little bit of my background and how I'm somewhat qualified to handle this position. In 1999, I started in the private sector in water and wastewater industry, ending as a crew chief of maintenance with a D water and a D wastewater license. In 2001, I started working for a municipality, ending as the superintendent of public works with a C groundwater and a C wastewater and a BPAT license. In 2014, I returned to the private sector in the water and wastewater. My ending position there was a senior operator. That's where I acquired a B groundwater, C surface, and a CSI license, which is also a customer service. In 2018, I transferred to a different private sector in the water and wastewater industry. I was the operations accounts manager, and I had a OSSF license, which is on-site sewage facilities, as a maintenance provider. In 2023, I returned to municipality in water and wastewater, and I was hired here as a utility operations manager, and my current position is public works director. Additional experiences that I have is operations of a distribution system consisting of a combined 2 million gallons a day elevated and ground storage tanks. Operations of 26 groundwater wells consisting of both Trinity and Paluxy, with a combined daily production of 1.3 million gallons. I've helped design, implement, and operation of SCADA. I've overseen employees in the repair and maintenance of infrastructure. Pump station repair, maintenance, to include booster pumps, chlorine injection, troubleshooting problems, and electrical. Repair and maintenance of pump station structures. Operation of a 3,000 gallon a day wastewater treatment plant. And I've assisted with capital improvement projects. Another one of our staff, Nick Meeks. His experience, he started out in 2002 in the private sector in the water and wastewater industry. His ending position was operator 3. He has a TCEQ groundwater C license. He is currently available to test for his B groundwater license and has a B wastewater. In 2025, he started in municipality in the water and wastewater industry. His current position is a utility operations manager, and he has the TCEQ C groundwater license and a B wastewater license. He also has been to the National Center of Construction Education and Research, certified safety technician and certified safety supervisor, as well as certified safety training. Let me give you a little bit of backstory from the way I've tracked it down. In September 14, 2015, the city signed an agreement with Violia for operations and maintenance of service for the water and wastewater system, and wastewater treatment plant, excuse me. And May 19, 2003, the city, via Olson & Olson, sent a letter to Violia regarding breach of agreement for deficiencies and unacceptable performances. August 7th, 2023, the City Council held an executive session regarding pending or potential litigation concerning Violia. Per the minutes, a motion was made to send a letter giving notice of non-renewal to Violia. The motion passed 5-0. September 11th, 2023, the City Council held public hearing for fiscal year 2023 proposed budget. Per the minutes, a position of utility operations manager was added to the water and sewer fund to monitor the Violia contract and shadow Violia. December 4th, 2023, I was hired as utility operations manager. November 21st, 2024, the former city manager sent a letter to Violia regarding notice of cancellation and the decision not to renew the 10-year agreement set to expire September 14th of 2025. On January 2nd, Nick Minks was hired as a utility operations manager. This position became open with me being promoted to public works director. June 12th, 2025, Chief Jennifer Howell became interim city manager and began assessing the current status of city issues. Why are we here today? Why are we here today? To determine what's best for the city and provide information for the city council to make an informed decision. Violia concerns: no capital improvement, lack of communication and partnership, lack of accountability, or liability to our city and citizens. The city's concern: startup cost for a new water department, unknown or current arising issues, no base revenue with the new meters, and a short timeline due to no previous preparation. Lift station 17. These pictures were taken on the 8th of this month. This is the current situation. A year and a half ago when I got here, this picture was taken December 7th. I was hired, December 4th was my first day. December 7th, I drove around the city looking at your interest. And these are some of the pictures I found. I found some, some general concerns. Lift station 27, some electrical panels and stuff that need some attention. Okay. Lift station 15, which is the bottom left picture there. Open manholes, catwalk, needs some repair. This is lift station 15 on the inside. What you're looking at is a dry well. It has been completely submerged. The picture there in the bottom where that water sets is where your pump actually goes. This month, I asked Nick to drive around and check our interest again, and these are the pictures he brought back. Dilapidated fencing. Go ahead. Some water repairs that need to be done. Leaks at the sewer plant. Cattails in a digest or a clarifier. Decant clarifier. Okay. Lift station 27 still on the right hand. F and Archer fire hydrant has been taken out of service. It was taken out of service a few months back. Go ahead. Some notices of concern with panels being left, accessible from the public, not being locked up. Open holes. Okay. Lift station 22. Looks like there's a sewer leak right there. And then the lift station catwalk at lift station 29. Okay. Why choose the city of Freeport? Get rid of all the concerns that you currently have with Violia. We can eliminate the above concerns, and because the risk is worth the reward, or the reward is worth the risk. I'm gonna turn it over to Ashley for the finance part.
No, it's okay, I got it. I'm a pro at it now. So I just wanted to reiterate the things that we spoke about in those productive meetings regarding the budget. I was able to sit and kind of educate to make sure that when y'all look at a budget, y'all fully understand and you're able to read it from top to bottom to know what you're looking at. So the first thing that I noticed coming into it, I'll flip back to that one in a minute, is that for the fiscal year that we're in now, the adopted budget was actually adopted with a deficit. So from day one, we were going to go in the hole. When we met, I explained that those transfers are technically an expense. The way they were presented to council previously was below that bottom line, so it likely got overlooked by y'all, just not not seeing it laid out very user-friendly. When we spoke, I told you all my goal is to budget to a 0 or a positive. So in doing that, I was able to work up 2 mock budgets. The one that is on the screen now is if we were to contract back out. I used Violia with a slight increase that we would expect with overages. And if you look under the proposed budget, the bottom number, I have cut almost all of our maintenance and supplies lines back. We're still, from day one, would be $980,000 in the hole. This is due to transfers as well as those increased costs. The next slide is the mock-up budget. This is what came before y'all when we met behind closed doors. Just showing that if it did come in-house from our best knowledgeable and researched answers, we believe that we can budget that to the 0, which means that our revenues will equal our expenses and those transfers. Just some things to note. Again, we noted it in the meeting, but I'm putting it out there for the public. We also have $500,000 budgeted in capital outlay if it was to come in-house. Going back to if it was contracted, the contract portion alone eats up so much of that budget, it's not financially feasible or sustainable, I should say. What that will mean is rates are going to have to go up, or we're going to have to look at even more cuts. Currently, this fund only has 3 positions in it. There's a water billing clerk, a customer service clerk, and then the utilities operation manager, Mr. Nick. I don't think that we can cut positions any more than that. Nick is valuable in the fact that he is the city's boots on the ground for water stuff. If my girls have an issue up front, they're able to call him. He's the liaison essentially with Violia. Obviously, I have to have the 2 girls. I tried to cut everything I could because I'm not biased in this decision, but I want y'all to have the most informative or the most information to make an informative decision. Flipping back one more, I did include this slide that shows actuals that we paid for Violia, not including what they bill us and we bill back to a customer. This is strictly what they bill us and we've paid for their services or their overages. Anything extra was not included in these numbers. So a little over 5.5 years, the grand total is a little over 17 million. Again, I just want to reiterate, I'm unbiased in the opinion. My only concern would be the budget. Considering we did budget with a deficit last year, it's because things are so tight. So this year, this coming budget year, we're also looking at that first meter loan payment. That's part of the transfers that's going up. So that is something to consider, and I want y'all to have that full knowledge. And that's all I had regarding the finance part.
Council, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. There was a slide you had. First of all, thanks for putting this together. I would definitely want to commend you guys for, one, believing that the city could do this. And you know, we're still looking at the numbers. I have a lot of questions on this stuff here. But I wanted to go back to the slide you had that had the calendar dates, and you had December 4th, 2023 on there. Previously, I think it was 4 slides back. Yeah.
That one? No.
Right there. Just one more forward. Or one more back, please. Thank you. So September 11th, 2023, City Council held the public hearing for fiscal year 23-24 proposed budget. Per the minutes, a position of Utilities Operation Manager was added to the Water System Fund. Water Sewer Fund to monitor the Violia contract and shadow Violia. So earlier and this is the weeds that I didn't really want to get into because I guess I didn't really think we need to be having these conversations. But since we're having these conversations, I'm going to ask these questions. The topic was brought up, hey, Violia, and I can't see the Violia team. You guys have been here this whole time and nothing's been done since 2023 in the last 2 years. And I'm thinking, okay, what's the communication process? Somebody calls, I think the comment was made on a previous slideshow by Adam Morris was that he put in a call and nothing has been done for, I forget how many months, 20 months or something like that. 15 months, thank you. And I'm thinking to myself, wonder what the communication process was. What's the protocol for the city and Violia to take in a request or to take in a problem? I know when I see a problem of security, I call 911 and dispatch handles it. I don't know what the situation here is for the city, but then when I saw this slide, I was like, that answered my question, because one of my other questions was like, I thought we had somebody on the city side doing the liaison, and then sure enough, here we have in 2023, September 11th, we actually put that in the budget. So I'm wondering who was in that position to be shadowing? And where was the breakdown in communication? And why was there? Or were they told not to do anything? Stand down, don't communicate. The point I wanted to make earlier was there's been mistakes made, but if they're purposeful, that's called sabotage. And we cannot have that. And if there's any paper trail of sabotage beyond what I already have, we're going to have conversations with HR. So the whole issue of the shadowing was one thing. And then there was another one here that talked about the liability that's been created. Well, there's one thing I forgot to mention earlier, and it's kind of a big deal. You know, when I said, hey, who's here tonight trying to solve the problem? And Violia has come out here saying, hey, listen, we know what mistakes were made, and we want to help. We've been trying to communicate for the last 9 months. What can we do to fix this problem? Let's sit down. Thank you for tonight even, that this is what they were trying to get to at least even 9 months ago. But I got to tell you, what if Violia came in here just throwing haymakers at the city? There'd be less sympathy for Violia. We'd be like, who are these guys coming in here telling us how to run our city? Well, that didn't happen, did it? Well, you want to know what's something else that didn't happen? Lance Petty, when he wrote that letter, CC'd everybody, he created a legal liability for the city. Lance Petty and council, when they did that meter, the 3.1 meter project that replaced everybody's meter at their house, that also violated the contract that we have with Violia. So I'm going to let you in on a big secret here about, I'm not sure, I'm actually grateful that they're being nice, but Violia has a lot of legal leverage to sue the city for all of those damages, and they could have led with that. If you guys don't renew us, we're going to sue you to the tune of $30 to $40 million, and we don't have it. So I'm glad they didn't bring that up, because that wouldn't have sat well with me. And then we'd be having a different conversation. They're not being adversarial. And that's kind of key, right? That's what I've been saying. I'm looking for the problem solving and the will to work together. And we've been seeing it, and I'm glad. But I can tell you this, just like I said, all of these liabilities were created, and there was others too. There was the lies, the paper trail of lies, with the Surfside, with the Covarrubias. All of those dollars, it started at the top with lies and deception and cover-ups. And I knew that when we hired to do the Lance Petty experiment, it ended up costing us millions. And now we're in a position where Violia, still being nice, but they still have that option in their back pocket to sue us. That liability is there. And I'm glad they're not going to be trying to push that. And I'm glad they still want to work with us. And I'm glad that the city's going to basically say, yeah, we're not going to be railroaded either. We're going to make sure we have a nice compromise agreement. But I'm not interested in experimenting for the sake of experimenting when we do not have the money or the resources and the people or the team to do it. But what we do have are two organizations who have an opportunity to solve this. If the leadership of council tells them to, facilitates it, helps to create those meetings. 9 months ago, they said no meetings. 8 months ago, no meetings. 7 months ago, no meetings. 6 months ago, no meetings. Nothing on the agenda. They kept kicking it off, playing these agenda rule games. And it wasn't even me asking for it. Of course, there's been a lot of smoke and mirrors for a lot of other stuff, very dangerous stuff. But we cannot go down this road of experimenting, because though we may look at these numbers and they look like they're going to be breaking even this year or we're going to be at a deficit, I worry that if we take it in-house, there's going to be so many more other problems. And so my last question is, in terms of teamwork, and I remember in that nice meeting we had a couple of weeks ago, Rudy was talking about teamwork and team playing with the city staff, and I loved hearing it, and I loved to hear his credentials too. I wasn't aware how well credentialed he was. So I thought, you know what? I like his team spirit. You're working with the other staff, the other directors. That's a positive. And so I'm looking at these pictures that you're showing here. If you could fast forward to those photos of all the problems that Mr. Meeks had put together for us. And I just have two questions. The first question is, have all of these problems been given to Violia today or since these photos have been made? Number one. And number two, can all of these problems be fixed if everybody's working together?
Yes, all the problems can be fixed if everybody's working together. That is completely. A year and a half ago on this particular lift station you looked up that we're looking at now, I asked James Carter what was the issue. He told me that was a temporary pump sitting there.
Well, I don't want to get into the details of each one, and I think it's important. What I really want to hear is kind of like what I heard from you last time.
Right.
That you want to just solve the problems and move the city forward. And that, to me, was like, this guy gets it. This guy gets it.
No matter what decision the council comes up, I want the city's interest to be the best.
And then the other thing that a lot of people don't know is that you live here.
Yes, sir.
So I love that. Is that when you live here, you care a little bit more. And you care for the right reasons. So thank you, James, for your presentation and for your attitude. Thanks, Ashley.
Councilman
No further
Davis.
questions, Mayor.
Councilman Davis. He says, come back. We'll go to this side of the room. Councilman Rosso, you got anything for Mr. Rudy? To the city. For the city, either Rudy or Miss Hurst.
Well, the meeting that he had referred to upstairs, we made this list with a lot of discrepancies, and I've never seen anything after that. I don't know if they addressed the problems. And it was a long list of all the discrepancies that Viola had made, and Lance was supposed to send that to Viola. I never saw any answers to that. Rudy, did you see that letter?
If you look in your packet, I found a rebuttal from Viola. I found the letter that was sent from Olson & Olson to Violia. I found Violia's response along with a rebuttal. Now, I don't know the responses and the rebuttals. They were in a file folder in my desk. So
But it wasn't.
I don't know where it came from or how it was there. That's just something I found.
And it wasn't.
But it's in your packet.
It wasn't. You don't see a CC or anything to
No,
come
sir,
to
not
us.
in that particular form. I do not.
How about you, Guy? Did you see anything like that?
I'm just in the finance, not the operations.
Okay. That's all I was wondering. I was wondering about that. I'm sure that was, and that was back last year sometime.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. What'd you see, Jared? Did you see anything? Any kind of response? Did you see the same response that Rudy did?
I don't know that I got that response, but I did see it in the packet.
It was in a folder marked Violia in my desk, so whenever we were looking at everything and the proof of transparency, I wanted you to all know what I had on a file.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only question I have.
Councilman Matamoros.
Rudy and Ashley, thank you for your presentation. Looks like I was actually a little generous to Violia on lift station 17. Your pictures show it in worse condition than what I had. And so your confidence level, if we were to bring this in-house, of it being successful, what type of percentage would you give me?
I'll give you 100%. I have no option of failure.
Okay.
I mean, there's going to be hurdles to overcome. I'm willing to overcome them. I've got enough contacts and personally that I can call out and ask a few friends, get some feedback, do whatever we need to do. We've actually put it in some consulting in the budget too, if I remember correctly. There is some consulting because yes, we're gonna come into problems that were unforeseen, and we're gonna have to face those.
Can I make one
Yes.
point? I also forgot to mention, but it was mentioned when we met with the mayor and councilman. If that is the direction that council wants to go, my biggest request is that we meet at least quarterly, preferably once a month starting out, and we review the budget. We adjust as we go. It will be very much a working document, as opposed to in the past we kind of adopt it and leave it for the year.
Okay. And looking at your qualifications, and the qualifications of Nick, would those qualifications be able to have us with a sufficient standing with TCEQ to make sure we're able to do our correct reporting and monitoring and things like that?
I believe for the wastewater treatment plant, you have to have a B licensed operator on staff 7 days a week, so we would have to get another B licensed treatment operator, but I believe my B will suffice for the water.
Okay. And then last, your plans for bringing it in-house. Do you have personnel to have like a mechanic and an electrician on staff, or would you utilize current city staff that we have, or would you?
As of right now, the way it is broke up, I have for 2 crews, and most of those are going to be maintenance crews. There is a crew leader forum in there. There's 2 crew leaders. There is a possibility of making one of those positions, but we currently in Public Works have a mechanic on staff, and our maintenance guys deal with electrical all the time. Granted, it's going to be a little bit. They still know it's controls, so it's not much different out of line. Starter switches, transducers, that kind of stuff. Pump gets called on, something calls it. It's got to switch on, switch off. Electrical. When it comes to the SCADA stuff, that's going to be stuff that we probably need to outsource because of computer programs and stuff need to be updated continually.
Yep, I'm very well aware of SCADA, and that. I mean, I help support that at Phillips 66, so I know exactly. Last question that I have for you is equipment. I know that would be a cost, a large cost. Y'all have already prepared for what necessary equipment to get or obtain before if we did bring this in-house. That way, day one, you could move forward in a professional manner, make sure that everything, if we have issues, they're taken care of timely.
Currently, if I'm not mistaken, we have a backhoe that is on loan to Violia. We'd have access back to that, and then we do have public works equipment that we'd have access to too.
Okay.
Without maybe some scheduling conflicts, priorities wise, but as of right now, we haven't scheduled for any equipment as far as budget. We have a machine that's not always in use. I mean, it's on the lower end of being used all the time, and it's a smaller machine, so it doesn't normally get used in public works, except for whenever you have two equipment that you need to run. But we can facilitate it and make it happen.
Okay. And then last question. If we did bring it in-house, would you provide us with a monthly
Yes, sir.
report, operating report, like you do with Public Works?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rudy. Ashley, appreciate it.
Mr. Davis.
All right. Well, once again, appreciate y'all. I know everybody already said it, but, thank y'all for your time and your effort that you put in on this presentation. I mean, it's just a lot of concerns here. I wish we could have had all of this a little more time. I mean, I would just hate to put y'all in put y'all in a time crunch like this into taking a chance. Not taking a chance, well, you said 100%. So you said 100% that you're in, or you're 100% that we're going to make it happen?
I'm going to do whatever the council instructs me to do, 110%. So.
Yeah, I often say, I was hoping you said you putting 100% in. Don't give me 100% that it's going to be successful.
No, I'm going to put 100% into it.
Yeah, okay. And ordering equipment, so we were making about a camera truck and stuff, them not having a camera truck and stuff. I mean, that stuff got to be ordered, and I mean, where we going? I think we need a vacuum truck or something. I mean,
we currently have a vac in Public Works. It's a trailer vac, and we also have a.
We have a what?
We have a vac on trailer. It's not a big truck, but we do have a vac on trailer, and then we also have a jet machine in Public Works. We do a lot of drainage work with it, and it does have the capability to do sewer mains.
Okay. So then we're gonna need vehicles.
Yes, sir. Those are budgeted.
Yeah. When last time y'all ordered a regular vehicle for Parks Department?
Parks Department had one year before last.
How long it took that vehicle to get here?
It took a while.
We work for the county. We waiting on vehicles 2-3 years.
Yes, sir. In the budget, we actually have some of those focused to outsource those through Enterprise. And if y'all choose to go on, we'll be bringing those guys in. But we have talks, and that's where we got the numbers for the budget. It's through them. Yeah, it's a lease. It's a lease, not a purchase.
Right. I think they came in here before.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the staff, how many did we have? Did you put down?
I believe it's in the strategic plan. If y'all have the strategic plan, I'm going back. 14. 14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
And how many we got at the Parks Department?
9.
9. 14. And so you got 2 or 3 right now?
We have Nick and myself right now.
Huh?
Nick and myself right now.
Now, y'all had another guy y'all took from Viola too.
He's actually still in the drainage, and if we choose to bring it in-house, I would ask him to come over to water. Yes. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not carried in this project. Okay, so I'm not carried in this project, by the way.
You know what?
As far as budgeting, for budgeting purposes, none of my pay comes out of that.
I mean, you know, for one, I don't like rushing nothing and putting the city at a risk like this. You know, because if that was to happen, I mean, you know, that's all on you. That's all on y'all. And the council up here, whoever votes for that. I mean, if that goes, vote for that. But I'm just one vote, and so whichever way it go, I'm gonna be all in to help the team be successful, whether we do it or whether Viola do it.
We're in agreement on that.
So I mean, you know, it ain't gonna be I ain't gonna be pouting and going on. And no, I'm for Freeport. What's the best for Freeport? So if that happens, then I got to fall all in to do whatever it takes and get the team rallied up to help you be successful. I want you to know that, you know, all right? It's just, and then the budget, the budget thing. Did it change or what? Because it sounded like you said that.
The only thing that changed was I worked it up if we were to contract services back out. Y'all didn't get to see that at our meeting. It was more for me. And then Chief called and said, hey, do you have an idea? We're putting together this presentation. I told her, well, I have this worked up. And so we included it. I started well, y'all know I was waiting for an answer because I have to have the proposed budget on file by the 31st. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and worked it up if we contract out versus whether it comes in-house. And so that's what's included. If we contract back out, I'm having a very difficult time with the budget not starting out negative $900,000. Last year, the budget was adopted and started out negative $347,000. So this year, it would go further in the hole because we're adding another loan payment on top of that.
And that's from the meters?
Yes, sir.
You know, see, and that concerns me too, you know, because, you know, that's another mistake that we came across.
And revenue could come back way higher. Like we talked about in our meeting, we don't have a very good baseline in history with these new meters. We really just have 1 month of 98% online being billed for.
Right.
So that is another factor to consider.
It's going to take a whole year to get a baseline.
Correct.
Of that.
There's a lot to consider either way. I'm done.
Mayor had a couple other comments,
Yes, sir.
unless Councilman Rosso had any more comments.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's a very serious matter here, and I just want to say that, you know, I keep hearing about SCADA, and I got to tell you, I'm SCADA to bring it in-house. That's my best joke of the night. But there's really nothing funny here. And I'm gonna get a little tougher here on my language. And I wanna say, you know, I have a rental property. I can give you the example of my rental property. Or I can give you an example of Mr. Cohen here, who's our IT guy. Very capable, very likable. If you guys haven't met him, very sweet, very helpful, very kind. And he deals with electronics all the time. But I would never put him to do electrical work. It's the same thing. I like my painter, super nice guy. My carpenter, moody. Don't like that guy. But I use him because he's a carpenter. But man, if I could get my painter to bring the attitude as of doing all the electrical work, it'd be great, but that's not what's happening. But let me not get off too far here. What I'm getting at is, I like you. There's no doubt about it. In fact, I like our team as it is now, that the directors that we have that are working together. We still have some house cleaning to be done. Let's make no mistake about that. So I'm not going to be singing Kumbaya here just yet. But just because we like people doesn't mean we need to put them in positions where they may very likely fail. And so this is not a matter about who I like. This is what's best for the city. And so I want you guys to think about it this other way, because this is very similar to the trash problem we had, the trash contract the city had. And for all of those at home watching, you guys know this very well. Here we have one company who is already, has all the equipment, has all the senior staff, all the boots on the ground staff. There's a breakdown in communication, but they're willing to work with us, and we're willing to get it done. That's the one hand. And on the other hand, we're not bringing it in-house. What we're really doing is that we're deciding, are we going to bet on a startup? Are we going to bet on a startup that, number one, the money's iffy, and number two, the logistics of parts getting in, even on day one, is not going to be there. So as much as the numbers and the logistics might sound like, hey, we have a commitment to make it work. We're going to pull up our bootstraps and we're going to do this. That doesn't solve the leaks. That doesn't solve the overflow in sewer. That doesn't solve the problems of the residents when it's flooding and it's raining. So we have to be wise about this. We cannot invest and hope that this startup's going to get it all together when, and this is the part that I didn't really want to get into, is like we're talking about the qualifications. We don't need a new team startup with a lot of staff that they don't already have to come in and learn on the job. Rudy said you have some certifications you still got to get. Well, that's great, but again, we do not want to have you learning on the job. At the last meeting we had at the round table, you were honest about, hey, I don't really know the budget. I had to sit with the CFO for 5 hours to learn, at least having an understanding, a basic understanding of it. Well, we don't need you. We don't need anybody on this startup learning on the job, learning how the numbers work, learning how the finances work, learning how the budgets for all these different parts are going to work. That's scary. That's SCADA. You know, we have this budget here, but there's a lot of unknown numbers. The meters, you know, how we're paying for this. I think we mentioned this, and Ashley just touched on this. We're generating the revenue from the water bills off those meters, and we don't even know if those meters are right, and we don't even know what money we're going to get. So the losses might actually even be greater. Again, there's too much risk here to bring it on in-house to basically a startup company. And I want you to work 100%, 110%, but I want to help you succeed. And that's what I've told every employee through all these changes we've had. I think I've mentioned that to Ashley. It's like, whatever you need, we're going to support you and make it right. But at the same time, I'm not interested in working harder. I'm interested in working smarter. I'm interested in creating opportunities that make your ability to be successful for the city that much more real. And I don't think getting away from Violia is that answer at all, because there's just too many risks with logistics and money and experience. I mean, what are we going to do? Purge all the Violia's people to build our team? We can't do that. We'll be in court for that too. So that said, I'll be very clear. I want to make sure we keep this here with the city and, with Violia, and have the city and Violia work together to solve this. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Pena, can I really reiterate on something you said? We're talking about the meters being accurate. They are 100% accurate. So the billing and stuff is going to be correct on those. But it was the amount of bills we're actually recouping from that.
Thank you for that clarification. Rudy, when we had a meeting about this during the budget process, I asked you a couple questions, and I'm going to ask the same questions. I need to know where your head and your heart is.
It's right here in Freeport, sir.
Okay, and the reason I ask that, for those that are wondering, Rudy has in the past followed Mr. Petty. Okay, and if we choose to go this route, I want to make sure that Rudy's head and heart is here.
Me and Mr. Petty worked at a few different places together, and he is the reason why I'm in Freeport. I am not looking to move anywhere else.
Okay, I think that was that's the answer I was looking for whenever we had had the discussion during the agenda or the budget meeting. Another question I had for you, and is a grave concern, is taking this on is going to put another hat that you have to wear. Are you going to be able to handle it, or are we going to need to restructure?
Like I told you during that meeting, I believe I can handle it, but if we need to restructure, I would rather go with water and wastewater.
But I believe you also said within 6 months you would have an answer of.
Within 6 months, I'll may be able to tell you quicker than that what I need, but within 6 months, I'll give you a definite answer.
Yes, because, ladies and gentlemen, my concern with this is not of Rudy's ability, but it is, my concern is, he's also over Parks Department and the streets and drainage and what have you. And if we do decide to take over the water and wastewater, it is going to take a lot of his time. And I want to make sure that there is some flexibility there if needed, along with whatever support that is needed.
In Public Works, I have a very dedicated staff that I would depend greatly on.
That's good. How long have you been working on, whether it was by yourself or with the former city manager, how long have y'all been working on the taking over?
Since I got here December 4th of 2003. That was one of the main objectives. Yes. I'm sorry, 23. Thank you for the correction. 23, whenever all the letters had been sent out. In fact, he approached me in October when the position came open up, and I told him I was nowhere in I had a child that was in high school fixing to graduate, and I wasn't looking to move. So he approached me again. I applied for the position. I said I would take the position if I could wait until December to get here.
Okay, so this isn't something that just popped up overnight. It's something that
yes, sir.
A plan has been made and
yes, sir.
Put in motion the best that it could, or the most that it could.
When I took the job, I was under the understanding that everything with Violia was null and done come October 1 of this year.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Rudy, Ashley, thank y'all for the presentation. Thanks for sticking around. And we're going to move on.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Can you come up to the mic, please?
So, being able to have access to the budget that was being posed by the city when it was issued over the weekend. We were able to do a due diligence going through it. There's some variations that are unaccounted for. I just want to make sure that you have the most upfront information. So I know that the goal is to go to the black, and we respect that. There's some sizable, I think, holes that need to be addressed that will, I think, unfortunately, put you where you don't want to be. And I just want to be able to figure out how do I best communicate that. This is not to try to create challenges, but more just I want to put that knowledge to the team here so we can share that correctly as a together. Once again, if I'm not allowed to say so, I won't say anything. I just want to just present it. If I'm allowed to go through it, I will. But I also don't want to, I want you to have all the information to make the correct information. That's kind of called what we've been trying to accomplish here, is to give you everything to know everything. Yeah. So I guess, by all means, I'll sit back down. I just didn't want to make this challenging.
I understand that. Ashley, do you feel confident in the budget that you have presented?
Yep.
I feel I'm very teachable at all times, but yes, I do. I just took the Violia contract cost out of here and reallocated it different places.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
You, well, I'd like to know. I mean, if we got some, I mean, we've never done it before, so, I mean, what if he had something that you be like, ding, ding, oh, yeah, I didn't know y'all do that. Oh, I didn't know y'all use that.
That's why I said I'm always teachable. My ears are always open. My door is always open.
You are, but they are. So, I want to hear it.
Let us know what you say.
Well, Mayor, I don't know if this is the correct form.
I mean,
Well,
because
but hold on, gentlemen. Hold on, gentlemen. Gentlemen, we're going to try to make a decision tonight on which way we're going to go. Okay, so if Councilman Davis feels like this information is important enough to have this conversation right now, and Ashley is comfortable to have the conversation right now, then we're going to go ahead and have the conversation right now.
Boom.
Thank you.
So what's been shown in the budget on an annual basis on the city side is they spend about $150,000 to $180,000 in power. This is for DPW, the city as a whole. One of the things inside our fee of $3 million is our power that we pay for the wastewater plant and for around the system for the water and wastewater. That cost is about $180,000 to $200,000 a year. That's not factored inside the budget because you show 150 as the average. But if you actually look at what our fee is comprised of, you'll see is about $200,000 in power. So that would actually give you, need to have an increase about, I call it $400,000 versus just the 150 you've been carrying historically. Does that make sense?
So do you have any documentation showing where you're paying that we're not being billed to that? The 150 that's in here is what I bill back to Violia every month.
So what we have in our contract, we're at full risk for power and chemical, and that's where that is inside our fee. Because I just wanted to point that out. The other item was the R&M. Historically, we've been spending about $400,000 to $500,000 a year to help facilitate the repairs needed in the system. What's shown in the budget right now is $140,000 dedicated towards maintenance. That's a very big difference. I just wanted to highlight these large numbers that are, in my opinion, inconsistent. I just want to make sure you have the full, we had our team to go through it, we had our accountants go through it, and just wanted to understand the deltas, because frankly, we want you to be able to make the right decisions and have the full knowledge of what we're seeing. And like I said, those are the two main, really, items I wanted to highlight. You can see in your maintenance, you add all those different, from like sewer maintenance to water maintenance and so forth. The aggregate to that is 140. Historically, it's been about 450, 500,000.
And that could be it. Again, that's one of the issues that we aren't sure unless we dive in and we find out. There is $150,000 in revenue that is accounted for and taken out if we come in-house. That is in the budget and added as the expense. That's what is billed and paid by Violia. I would say if there are other expected overages, there's the $500,000 as a placeholder in capital outlay for the in-house budget. And this is where it would be imperative that we met regularly, put these numbers on paper, and discussed whether numbers needed to move around. That would be what I would have to say about it.
Well, I like that at least there's a plan in place.
And I didn't say thank you, but thank you.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
I just wanted just to present it again. I know for youth and the process, and that it was a lot done in a short time. I just wanted to share some of the concerns our team saw.
And Ashley, I wasn't questioning your numbers. Just wanted to make sure that, if there was something that you didn't see, that might bring something to your attention. But I trust your numbers, but that's from what you were gave, what the information that you have, and what it's not from experience, but it's from the information that was given to you, and you put the numbers together. And I trust them numbers. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't say something that make like, oh yeah. So.
No, I am not easy to offend at all.
Thank you.
Anything that helps broaden my knowledge, I'm always open to hear.
Thank you.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on to agenda item 3A. Consideration and possible action regarding future utility operations and possible action to issue an RFQ. Staff recommendations. Staff recommends formal discussion and recommendation on how to proceed. We've had some good conversation tonight, I believe. Item summary. With it being budget time, a decision on how utilities are going to be handled is imperative. Specifically, the decision on whether utility operations are coming in-house or whether we are contracting services out again is the decision that needs to be made. If we are going to contract services, should we do our due diligence and post RFQ for utility operations? Background information, the city has used Violia for the services in the past. The city has been working under the impression that utilities were coming in-house as of October 1st, 2025. Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to maintain services with Violia under the terms of our prior contract pending action on a contract renewal.
We have a motion to retain Violia pending a contract renewal by Councilman Pena. Is there a second?
Under the terms that we have right now, but that we're going to negotiate. Yeah. You want me to reiterate my motion?
Under the terms that we have now until
pending action on the
pending
contract.
action on.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
A second by Councilman Davis. Any discussion, ladies and gentlemen?
I just want to applaud the staff again for doing their due diligence. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Davis?
Yeah, it's just timing for me. I'm sorry, it's just too many unknowns that can pop up. We have a lot of stuff going on here in the city that, we need to clean up and to add another headache. This is a serious, this is our water and our sewer. It's serious. And it's rushing. And then to RFQ or whatever, is that what that?
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, that's not, we don't have enough time for that, so that's out of the question. It has to be either or, and, they say that they've been talking about this since 23 or something, but it's never been discussed with us. Then we just bring up a plan and make a plan up in 3 weeks. And now we got to execute it in 2.5 months. We got to get the workers. We got to get the equipment. We got to go in there and see what we're gonna run into. I mean, this all got to happen the first week. Like, you got to go in there and dig in the first week. It's just risky to me. I mean, I'm not with doing no 10-year contract. I mean, you know, we have to, because it has been some problems, and I think that they have admitted that, you know, it's been some problems. Bring up some solutions, and you know, if that don't work out, then now you have a plan to, you know, move forward and be ready. If they don't execute, then now you have a plan, and then it's not a rushing. It's not a 2-month plan to do my water and sewer, to do the city of Freeport's water and sewer. It's just, no, not for me. I'm done.
Councilman Rosso.
My question is there a limit of how many years that we can give them a contract? Is there a limit?
The contract, as long as both parties agree upon it, then that's what it is.
So it could be 2 years.
We could tell them we're only going to do a year.
A year.
And if they don't agree upon it, then it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, y'all know me. Most of the people that out there in cyberspace and the people that come, we got the same people come to the meetings every first and third Monday. I believe in forgiveness. I believe people make mistakes. I do. Because they do. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything. Me personally, I don't have a problem with Viola at all. They've never done me wrong. And I really appreciate the way they came saying they're going to do better. They're going to straighten out the things that they may have missed. Me personally, I can't argue with that. I mean, give them a chance. Let's work it out. Let's figure it out. We as a council, we can say how long. Well, if we give them a 2-year contract and they mess up, then we'll maybe go in-house or get another company. There are other companies out there that can do what Viola is doing and what we're saying we can do. So my answer is give them a chance. That's just me. I'm just one vote. That's all I got.
Councilman Matamoros.
Mayor, the way I understand this motion is to extend the contract per the terms of the original contract, so that's a 10-year contract. Is that what we're going to be voting on? Because that's what the contract, I believe, states.
No, we are doing it till the October 1st deadline.
We do it to extend it to the end of the contract that is currently in place.
And negotiate the renewal.
Negotiate the renewal.
Do you have to retract the letter?
No.
Okay.
No, because
Let's worry about that later. That's a legal question. I don't want to scuttle the discussion on that.
Yeah.
Or scramble it.
As long as it say renegotiate the contract.
you still got your wheels turning over there?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at what this contract states. And yes, we've terminated it, we sent notice. And so, the way the motion was stated was per the agreement. That's what I'm having. If the motion will be changed to, we're gonna renegotiate a contract with Violia, then, for an
Mayor, my
determinate
language
time.
is,
I mean,
it's clear.
I'm speaking,
Hold on.
I mean, my goodness.
I'm trying to say, it's the same thing. He doesn't understand my motion.
Let's hear him out.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm trying to clarify. It's basic English.
Councilman?
Just vote on the motion. I'm gonna vote nay anyways.
I call the question, Mayor.
I'm gonna say my little piece, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
It'll
I'm not
be-
going to
it'll
cut
be-
you
it'll
off.
be quick
I would
and
ne-
easy.
I would never cut you off.
Good conversation tonight on an important issue. Personally, I feel like taking it in-house is the best thing for the city. According to the budget, it would save the taxpayers almost $1 million. I feel like employees that work for the city as opposed to a contractor will have a lot more pride. I say that lightly because the boots on the ground that work for Violia are top-notch guys. But when they work for the city as opposed to a contractor, they're going to have a greater sense of pride, and their heart is going to be more in it. Tonight we heard a lot of accountability or lack of accountability. Okay. The Violia team stating that they were telling the city this needs to be done. Okay. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, the people that they were in communications with are no longer here, so we cannot rebuke that. But taking it in-house, the city has a greater opportunity to hold the department accountable. We can go to Rudy because we know Rudy is the guy that's in charge of it. It ain't right. Rudy, dang it, get it done. Okay. By taking it in-house, we eliminate I told George that it needs to be done, and it's his fault that he didn't pass it on to the city manager. Okay. I think we all agree that the communication issue is one of the major issues that we have. Now, I see heads nodding on both sides of the table. And I still feel like if we take this in-house, then we eliminate a lot of the communication issue. Okay, so it's my two cents. With that, gentlemen, I'm gonna call the vote. All those in favor state aye.
What? In favor for what?
To go with Violia.
Oh.
So, yeah, for Violia, aye.
Oh, yeah.
The motion was made. You seconded it.
I know, I did. You're right.
All right, we're gonna start over, gentlemen.
The motion, I wrote it down,
My bad, yeah.
is to stick with Violia and negotiate the contract. But my vote is yes.
Yes.
All those in favor state aye.
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 All opposed?
Absolutely not.
Nay. Motion carries 3-2. Congratulations, Violia team. We need to start the negotiations on the contract.
Thank you.
Just want the residents to
break.
know that, hey, your taxes are gonna increase, so be prepared. Don't come and hate on me or Jerry.
It's a possibility, but it might not. It's not written in stone. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 9:20. We are going to close this regularly scheduled meeting
Way to stay
and go into executive session. Executive session regarding Texas Government Code Section 551.074, personal matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee or interim city manager. Number 2, Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee, i.e. legal services.